What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty. Join my Discord if you want to chat and share your thoughts, the link is in the description. 2 Fate Chapter 26. Recovery information towering ancient trees and lush woods, the four of them quickly shuttled between the woods. Yuhitaka introduced the mission. Our destination this time is still Unokuni, but this time it is not at the border between Unokuni and Fireland, but between Unokuni and Unokuni. The country of Uno is located to the northeast of the country of Fire, passing through the country of the Moon is the country of the Moon, and then the country of Thunder. They went to the country of the Moon this time to retrieve information. There are spies infiltrating each other in the 5 major ninja villages to collect information from each other. The ninjas in each village will establish secret strongholds in various places to pass on the information collected by the spies, and the village will send ninjas to take it away at regular intervals. And this time, the sea-level task was handed over to them. The time given by the village is fairly generous. According to Yuri Junhong, they can play for a few days, which is also considered a default benefit. Of course, they are not always playing on the road. Yuri Junhong teaches them where to set traps and where to hide themselves. After all, the ninjas who have just zoomed in on the front are a few of the few. Most ninjas are still used to poisoning and setting traps. This knowledge allows them to be more cautious when performing tasks outside. It is also common for Zongren to poison and kill Shangren. You have to learn to detoxify yourself. You must not only poison but not detoxify. Master Dashuan is good at poisoning and detoxifying. Only a small group of people knew about Oshimaru's acceptance of Kioske as a disciple, and he was among them. Besides his own blood succession limits, the ninjutsu that Kioske usually uses is Oshimaru's characteristic ninjutsu. It's hard to know. Generally, anyone who has seen the hidden shadow snake hand can know that Kiyomizu is a disciple of Dashuan. I know this, but Mr. Dashuan hasn't taught me yet. Poisoning is easy. Just let a snake bite. According to Dashuan, detoxification is also very simple. Just let a snake bite. He hasn't learned how to fight poison with poison. To learn how to fight poison with poison, he needs a lot of knowledge. Most people don't want to come. However, under the teaching of Dashuan, Shinjia will detoxify weaker poisons, like the toxin of Sanjiao fish, and even the big snake. Maru finds it tricky, let alone him. Along the way, Yuri Zhenheng instilled knowledge in the 3 little guys, but he didn't instill too much. It was too late, and they needed time to digest. Advertisement this time there were no goods to be escorted. The 4-person team traversed the country of Fire, and after entering the country of Uno, they hid their identity as Konoha ninja. There are also ninjas from Tanjian village in the country of Tango. This time they are taking the information, they are entering the village quietly, don't shoot. You can't reveal your identity, and you can't put this kind of thing on the bright side. On the way, they also encountered a few Tang Ren who performed the task, but it seemed that the strength was not good, and it was not as good as the 3 of them. Yuri Zhenheng said, Tanjian village is about to die. I heard that the name of Tanjian is ready to weaken Tanjian village. There will be things to hire ninjas from other villages in the future. Isn't it more expensive to hire ninjas from other villages? And if the war comes, and each village is in its own right, it is impossible to allocate energy to protect Unokuni. Kioske said incomprehensibly. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. When the war comes, you are all going to sweep your door. Who will take care of you? Have you forgotten? There are also wandering ninjas and rebellious ninjas, Yuhi Mahong said. Their prices are much cheaper than those of us regular ninjas. In order to survive, they will also take on some ugly missions. That's the case, if you were Renin, you are really short of money, but if it were me, I would definitely not become Renin, said Kiyomizu. Betraying the village is absolutely not allowed. Shi Zhenheng said solemnly, knowing that the 3 of you would never betray the village, but he still said, if one of you becomes a betrayal, I will chase you to the end of the world. Saying this, I know deep down that the 3 of them will never betray. Among the 3, Asuma was the son of Naruto, and it was impossible to defect. Her daughter knew that she had been instilled in the will of fire by him since she was a child, and it was the same, while Kioske was a disciple of Oshimaru, and betrayal was also impossible. I am afraid that Lord Oshimaru will clear the door before he makes a move. Kioske smiled and said, what is good about being a betrayal, living a life of displacement, being offered a reward for killing by the village, eating 3 meals of hungry, and having a life without a meal is not good at all. Advertisement. Not everyone is Oshimaru. After defecting, they can build a ninja village by themselves and let that village make money for themselves and provide research funding. Most of the rebels either go it alone or team up with rebels or wandering ninjas from other villages. Do some dirty and dangerous work, and there is no guarantee of life. A small number of people join some mercenary organizations, thinking of returning to the village by the way. A shame. It is naturally good to have this kind of thought. Everything is for the village, for which we can give our lives, Shiri Zhenheng said solemnly. Speaking of rebellion, Kioske remembered that in a few years, the Upper Watergate will become the 4th generation of Hokage, and Oshimaru will defect soon. He will definitely not follow him out, in case he gives his body someday occupy it, that would be troublesome. I have to start doing some hard work. Otherwise, waiting for Dashimaru to defect, his status in the village will also plummet. If he goes out to buy some food, he will be monitored by Anbu or General. Oshimaru's defection is inevitable, and his own people are lighthearted, even his disciple. The suggestion is probably of no use. It is better to wait for the Watergate to take the position, and gradually get away from Oshimaru. After a few days of work, Kioske and the others passed through the country of Uno and came to the border of the country of the Moon. The scenery of the Moon Country is also good, because it is close to the Thunder Country. The terrain is mostly alpine valleys, surrounded by clouds and mist, and it is beautiful. The joint is located in a dilapidated small town on the border of the Moon Country. Pushing aside a pub, Yuri Zhenheng, who became an ordinary old man, sat in the seat, coughed 3 times, and said, "Oh, this body is getting more and more. It's no good, boy, have a glass of warm wine and 3 more side dishes." Soon after, he was full of food and drink and called the waiter. When paying the money, he touched his pocket and had no money. The waiter was furious. "If you don't have money, you can drink a asterisk asterisk. Get out of here." After talking about pushing and shoving Yuri Zhenheng out of the izakaya, and pushed him to the ground, Yuri Zhenheng scolded him and got up, got into the alley, and said to the 3 people hidden in the shadow, "The information is available, we should retreat, up." Yes. Chapter 27. Yan Yin chasing soldiers. The exchange of information is very simple, and it is often done inadvertently. This pub is opened by Konoha, and it is specially used to transmit information. The scene of each connection is different. This time I have a king's meal and the waiter is there. During the push, the information is handed over to Yuri Zhenheng's hands, and it will be changed every time. The intelligence finally has the time and code for the next transmission of intelligence, which will be changed every time. The 4 left the town immediately. At night, when the izakaya was busy, a group of brawny men in Yan Yin village ninja costumes walked in. The headed man was sturdy, with a tiger-backed waist, like a giant bear standing up, with a loud voice, and roared, "Don't run, on." The Yan Yin village ninjas behind him swarmed and controlled everyone in the izakaya. "Check me one by one until you find the connector, get back the information," said the leader. Yes. The rest of the people began to investigate, one after another, and finally checked out the izakaya owner and waiter, and used illusion techniques to force out information. The intelligence has been taken away by Konoha's people. This made them very upset. They didn't know how much information about Yan Yin village was recorded on it, but they had to get it back, so that Konoha could not get the information, which would not benefit Yan Yin village. Ask 2 people to take away the izakaya owner and waiter, while he leads someone to chase the information. Konoha's tavern was pulled out, and several spies were also found out. This is not all Konoha left in Yan Yin village. There are also spies, but the loss of these spies is also a loss, and Yan Yin village will also get some information about Konoha village from these people. Master Rike, Konoha's people just left in the afternoon, and it is estimated that we will be able to catch up soon. On the way, a Yan Yin village ninja said to the leader of Shangren. Rike said, "I know, you can't let them run away, Konoha bastards." Maki, "Do you perceive their location?" In the trio team, Maki, the only sensory ninja, said, "It's a bit far from here. They haven't moved for a long time. It is estimated that they have rested and can catch up after a while." "Okay. You can't let this group of Konoha ninjas be spared." Riki led people into the night. Yan Yin was chasing the group of Shiri Zhenheng who had left long ago, and now they are resting on the spot. At the night of Yuri Zhenheng, the 3 little guys rested around the bonfire. They are now in the territory of Unokuni. Only after entering the fire country can they say that they are home safely. This is not a time of war. They can be slower on the road, but they must not be particularly slow. Advertisement intelligence is very important to the village, and there must be no mistakes. This C-level mission can actually be rated as B-level, mainly because the safety factor is a little higher. It will be rated as C-level, but there are still many hidden dangers. Suddenly, his face changed. He called the 3 children who were resting, and said, "Go. The trap I set was triggered, and there are chasing soldiers." Asma rubbed her eyes and said, "Could it be a beast?" "Impossible. Go away." Yuri Zhenheng urged, and the 3 of them lifted their spirits, immediately extinguished the bonfire, and then rushed towards the country of fire. On the way, Qingjie asked, "Teacher Zhenheng, the chaser of Yan Yin village?" "Perhaps, it is very possible that a spy has been caught, and the connection place is probably unusable. We must now rush back to the village as quickly as possible to ensure the security of the intelligence. I can ask Snake to send the information to Teacher Dashuan," Shinzuki said. He and Oshimaru have the same contract, so it is possible to let the Snake pass on information. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi, can. Yuhi Zhenheng thought for a while and handed the information scroll to Kioske. Psychic art. Psychic produced a snake, let the snake swallow the intelligence scroll, and with a bang, the snake disappeared. Seeing this scene, Yuri was really red at ease. At this time, the whirring sound came. He hurriedly grabbed the red and Asma on the side, clamped Kioske with his arm and shouted. In the next second, they were hit by a large number of kunai and shurikens where they were just now. Putting down the 3 little guys, he said in a deep voice, "Yan Yin's chasing soldiers." The ninja of Konoha. The 3 ninjas of Yan Yin village fell on the tree, and the moonlight shone on their sturdy bodies, which felt like 3 brothers under the moon. Anti-press tilde ha tilde. Let me go. What is this strange sense of sight? Shinzuki looked at the 3 of them, silently complaining. Riki looked at the 3 of them. 1 upper ninja, 3 lower ninjas. It seems that the task will be completed soon. Advertisement. They leave it to me. You run, Shiri Zhenheng said solemnly. Leave it to me next. But Hong wanted to stay, but she knew that they were dragging their feet by staying. Asma gritted her teeth and said, "I won't go, Teacher Zhenheng, we are in a small team. Give me to obey the order. Kioske, take them out of here." Of the 3, Kioske is usually the most calm, and he is relieved when he asks him to take them away. Yes. Kioske grabbed the 2 of them and ran away immediately. "Hey, Kioske, don't pull me, I want to stay," Shut up, idiot. They can't kill me, can't they still kill you? Ha ha ha, what an arrogant kid. Rike and Maki's other teammate, Galabi, said with a smile. Is this kid going crazy, right? We are the upper shinobu of Yan Yin village. I want to see, I can't kill you. After speaking, he rushed over, and the shinobi in his hand was blocked by the red sword. Galobi smiled and said, it's pretty good. It can actually block my uncle Galobi's knife. Konoha's ninja, report come on. Yuri Zhenhong was silent, and Galobi suddenly felt a scorching heat, and immediately turned his head. The flame rubbed his hair over and set it alight. Immediately stepped back and patted his hair quickly. The air smelled of ignited protein, which was very unpleasant. Little devil. Seeing the flames burning in the hands of Kioske on the tree, Galobi roared. Riki fell and said, Galover killed the 3 imps, I will deal with this Konoha ninja. Good. There was a cruel smile on Galobi's face. Yuri Zhenhong was about to stop it, and Riki raised his knife and slashed over. A lot of strength. Feeling the power from the knife, Yuri Zhenhong's heart sank. I am afraid that this person's strength in Yan Yin village is also superior, and there is another person on the tree watching by the side. He glanced at Galabi's far away back and said softly, Kyosuke, the 2 of them will ask you. Don't think about other things at this time, otherwise it's easy to die. Those little ghosts will soon be killed by Galobi, Riki sneered. Don't underestimate our Konoha ninja, Yuri really red said in a deep voice. Chapter 28. Fried, Shinzuki, do you think he will be okay with Dad? Hong asked worriedly. I don't know if Teacher Zhenhong will be okay, but we have something. Turning around and shaking his sleeves, a large number of poisonous snakes rushed out, biting at Galabi who rushed over. Insect carving skills. Galabi swung a knife to cut off the snake's head. Shinzuki was not in trouble. Asma quickly reacted, threw out the shuriken, and quickly sealed the seal, the shuriken shadow avatar technique. Shinji's arm turned into a fiery flame, and in an instant, a thick pillar of fire burst out. Water escaped the art of Waterhorn. Galabi opened his mouth and spit out, a jet of water gushed out, and the flying shuriken collided with the pillar of fire. Suddenly, a large amount of water vapor burst out, covering the line of sight. I'm afraid I can't escape this time, Shinzuki said. We can't deal with a Shangren. There is no problem with their strength against the average Zhongren, but it is absolutely very dangerous to encounter a Shangren. Some self-awareness, kid, let me take your knife first. Galabi grinned grimly, the knife in his hand gleaming with cold. Is it? Kiyomizu pulled out 2 kunai, burning flames in his hands, and burning kunai in his hands, not feeling hot at all. The bright red kuma fell into Galabi's eyes and surprised him. Are you Konoha's blood air ninja? You guess. It looks like I can't kill you, Galabi said with a grin. A blood ninja is very precious, and it is more valuable to catch alive than to kill. The other 2 will be killed, leaving the one captured alive. Red, Asma, the same way, Kioske said. Understand. Red nodded and quickly climbed to the tree. Asma walked around behind Galabi. Huh, overbearing kids. You don't even know the difference between the upper and lower ninjas, let me tell you today. Galabi laughed, not rushing towards Kioske, but the tree on the red. The hidden shadow has more snake hands. More, very sturdy snakes rushed out, too late to tie him up, so they could only stand in front of him. Fire escaped the art of fire. Advertisement Asma breathed flames. Galabi secretly cried out for trouble, turned around and smashed the flames with a knife. Kioske jumped up and kicked him in the arm. Red. Alright. Okay. The last mark on the red hand fell, illusory magic 3 Sakura. A large number of petals suddenly appeared in front of Galabi's eyes, blocking his vision. Illusion? He immediately solved the illusion technique by himself. In such a moment, Kiyomizu separated the shadow clone and said, retreat. Asma and Hong fled immediately. Shinji stood there and said, you will stay here next. Huh, kid, don't think you can be arrogant if you are a ninja. Galobi smiled contemptuously, turning the blade, preparing to attack Kioske with the back of the blade. You can try. Galabi snorted coldly. Kyosuke's arrogance made him very upset. It was just forbearance. What's so arrogant? He rushed forward, cutting the back of the knife towards Kyosuke's neck. Passed through his neck in an instant. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. This scene is no different from being a ghost. It made him feel scared, and was suddenly shocked. Damn it, obviously the illusion has been solved. Stupid. You have always been in the red illusion, never escaped. The muscular man in front of him seemed to be in the illusion space because of his ability, which is interesting. Impossible. Solution. Get the seal on the hand and immediately perform the seal to remove the illusion. Then swing the knife at Kioske. Cut in half. Flame made up his body again, and said, the meaningless struggles are all said to be illusions. You can't escape. The red illusion Uchiha clan can't escape, let alone you. Impossible. This is definitely not an illusion. It's fake. It's all fake. Most people in Yan Yin village are reckless. When they were unclear about the situation, they waved a knife and chopped Shinsuke's body into pieces, but in an instant, the flame reorganized his body. Stop struggling. Kioske smiled, the shadow clones quickly approached, and the little white snake fell on his wrist and quickly left. No. You. Galabi realized that something was wrong, and one shadow clone after another tightly hugged him, and Kioske rushed forward and said, go to hell, Shabi. Otter bomb. Boom. Advertisement the earth-shattering explosion sounded, and Yuri Zhenhong and Riki, who were fighting fiercely, were both attracted. Is that Shinsuke's technique? Yuhi Mahong knew that Kioske had a ninjutsu technique that could already be classified as a forbidden technique. It was so powerful that it would not be profitable even if it was eaten head-on. Does it seem to have been forced to this level? What's the matter? Maki, how is Galabi? Galover's breath disappeared. He was calculated by those 3 little ghosts. I'll go and see. Maki didn't perceive Galabi's chakra, which means that he can already. Be careful yourself. After speaking, leave immediately. This rubbish. It seems that the disciple you brought is not rubbish. The death of a subordinate can't shake Riki, he just wants to quickly win Shiragenhung. Jumping to the side, making a seal on his hand, laid down earthbound cobweb. A lightning spider web appeared on the ground, and Yuri Zhenhung immediately jumped up, and Riki also jumped up. Exquisite ninjutsu erupted, brandishing the long sword wrapped in laid-done chakra, knocking Yuri Zhenhung down. Woo! His body was hit by thunder and lightning, and his whole body was paralyzed. But he chopped Yuri Zhenhung's body into wood, substitute technique. It's time too. The sensing ninja is gone, so don't worry about it. In the dark, Yuri Zhenhung smiled with a win-winner, and quickly sealed his hand. Magic tree bound kill. Riki immediately noticed that a big tree had grown behind him, and the branches that had grown out entangled his limbs. This is illusion? Above, Yuri Zhenhung got out of the tree and said, yes, you are doomed to fail since you started fighting alone. To deal with the phantom ninja, fighting alone is the most undesirable, which is tantamount to self-destruction. Riki struggled, but to no avail. His throat went cold, and Yuri's neck was rubbed by the red. At the end of the illusion, Yuri really red flicked the blood on the knife, and put Riki's body away. This was an important material. After doing all this, he chased in the direction where Maki disappeared. At this time, Chakra was exhausted because of the reorganization of the body by the Chinzuki who used the auto bomb, and he could no longer boost his strength. Sitting on the hot mud, I saw Maki. It's really a leak in the house, and it rains all night. Chapter 29. The villain died of talking too much. Where is Galobi? Maki asked. Kioske smiled and said, did you smell the air? Every breath you take is sucking your companion into your body? He used most of the chakras on his body, and now he has no energy. Hole. Maki furiously stepped forward and kicked Kioske out. The body hit the tree and coughed. Chakra was not enough to be elementalized. Now is the most dangerous time. Bang bang bang. Maki kicked him one foot after another, completely ignoring Chinjia who was still a child, and said, that fellow Galabi is a fool, and he has been calculated by a kid like you. He is guilty of death. With that, he picked up the vomiting blood-spitting Chinjia and said, let me take you to the end. At this time, Kioske opened his mouth, and a snake rushed out and bit on Maki's wrist. Maki suffered from pain and released him. He grabbed the poisonous snake and pinched it to death, but it was too late. The arm immediately swelled and the blood turned black, and the trachea seemed to be blocked by something poisonous. Covering his throat with one hand, the other hand hurried to get the antidote. Kyosuke, Asma and Hong, who waited until the movement disappeared, rushed back to the scene, and found Maki, immediately shot shuriken and kunai, and pierced Maki. Kioske struggled, that guy is a fool. So are you? Don't you know that the villain died of talking too much? Shall I kill him? The little white snake crawled out from nowhere, quickly climbed onto Maki's legs, got into his clothes, and bit him on his body. Inject the venom again. This time, Maki released the antidote in her hand. Hong supported Kioske. Asma rushed forward, piercing Maki's heart with kunai. Kyosuke, are you okay? Do you think I'm like it doesn't matter? I have several broken ribs. This guy really can handle it. The whole body was in pain, and he asked, Red, have you learned medical ninjutsu? I didn't learn. Hong said ashamed. If I learn, you can heal you. It's not too late to go back to study. He covered his abdomen and said, Teacher Zhenhung doesn't know what's going on. Asma, let's go back to Konoha first. Advertisement, don't wait for Mr. Zhenhung. We can't wait any longer. If Mr. Zhenhung survives, he will naturally catch up with us. Even if we can't, we can increase our survival rate by running now. Kioske calmly said, although it is not good to say, this is the truth. Hong lowered her head. Her father's life or death was unknown. She wanted to see it, but her abilities would only drag her back, so she had to go quickly. At this moment, a figure fell, and the three of them breathed a sigh of relief when they saw the person coming. Shi Zhenhung said, are you all okay? I have something. Kioske raised his hand. Chakra was overconsumed and his rib was broken. Yuri really red nodded, and saw Maki who was purplish on the ground, and said, you poisoned? See the poisonous snake with blood-sealed throat, Xiaobai's poison and Asma's mending knife. Well, it's good. It's good to be able to kill this kind of shangren. How did the other one die? It died. The one with the ashes raised. Shinzuki said, there may be his presence in every minute of the air we breathe now. When the other three heard it, their faces turned green, and red felt disgusting. Enough, Shinzuki, don't talk about such disgusting things. You did a good job, Kioske. I will report this to Naruto-sama for you. Yuhi Mahong said, we now need to rush back to the village as fast as possible. Kioske, you bear some pain and I will give you do some simple treatments. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi, it is good. Then, the screams sounded, and Shiri was really a big man. He didn't make any effort to reset his bones. It was not light at all. In the end, he was asked to take a bitter and astringent secret medicine to speed up his recovery. Yuri Mahone picked up Kioske and said, speed up. After speaking, he leapt forward on the tree with Kioske on his back. I'm dizzy, I feel sick, why can't I be a red back, and uncle is not good at all. 2 days later, Naruto office, the exhausted Yuichi Zhenhong reported the process of this mission to Sarutobi Hizen. After hearing that Kioske killed one of the upper ninjas and poisoned another ninja, his face was very wonderful. This kind of strength, it's almost the same as Kakashi. No, in terms of destructive power, Kiosuke's destructive power is much stronger than Kakashi. Although the two upper ninjas have the elements of underestimating the enemy, but as a lower ninja, he killed the upper ninja, indicating that his strength is far away. Far surpassed the ninja in the same period and a group of ninjas. Advertisement: it's a good face worth nurturing, and it's right to hand it over to Da Shiwan. Yes, the danger level of this mission was a mistake in my estimation, which made you almost unable to come back. Asakawa Kiosuke's medical expenses village was completely reimbursed, and he could choose a ninjutsu in the art of sealing. In addition, this time the reward was doubled. The information and ninjas you brought back are also extremely useful. Barta smoking a cigarette, Sarutobi Hazaki decided to compensate Kioske and his team, not to let them bleed and shed tears. Thank you, Hokage-sama. By the way, how is the kid now? Because of the 2 days of rushing, the injury has only undergone a simple treatment, and now it has been transferred to the Konoha hospital to recover, Yuhitaka said. That's good. After his injury heals, let him come to my place. By the way, this is for you. Sarutobi Hizumi took out a piece of paper to him and said, you can decide whether to participate or not. I will let them choose for themselves. Putting the paper away, said, then I will retire first. Okay. Konoha Hospital. Kioske, who was lying on the hospital bed to recuperate, felt uncomfortable. Because the bed was full of people, the two in his team would not say anything. Kakashi, Taito and Lin, plus came out of school. Kai, who hadn't seen him much since then, surrounded the bedside with 6 people to visit him who was injured. Well, actually, just leave Hong and Lin. You guys can go out. I think my injury is hard to heal when I see you. With a black line on his face, what do you guys say? We kindly ran over to visit you, but you guys are not grateful at all and want to drive us away? He just simply dislikes you. Kakashi said, you guys came to find the difference, right? Dai too was furious. Humph. ***. I and Hong are taking care of you all the way. Why only Hong and Lin are left? Asma's speech sounded a little weird. Kai suddenly became enthusiastic. Injury is also an indispensable part of youth. Kioske, this is youth. Lots of people, so noisy. Be quiet. Don't make a lot of noise in the hospital. The head nurse ran over and knocked on the heads of Taito, Kai, and Asma. It's finally quiet. Chapter 30. Central Ninja Exam. After visiting Shinjia, everyone also separated. Everyone is a ninja, and staying in the hospital is not a problem. Asma and Hong are also going back to rest. They transferred Shinzuki to Konoha Hospital for the first time. They haven't rested until now. It's time to go back to wash and sleep. Lying on the hospital bed, Kioske also wanted to sleep. After the medical ninja used medical ninjutsu to treat his injury, he was able to take a good rest with medicine. The exhaustion from the past few days came up and he soon fell asleep. When I woke up again, it was already the next morning. I was hungry and woke up with the fruits brought by them with soil on the head of the bed. When I was hungry, I groaned. I picked up an apple without washing it and put it on the bed sheet. After rubbing it, I bite it down. The flesh is crisp, sweet and delicious. It seems to be recovering well. The unique hoarse voice sounded, and when he turned his head, Dashimaru leaned against the door and laughed. Teacher Oshimaru, you are here. Throwing out an apple and saying, they gave it. As a result, Apple and Dashiwan didn't eat it and said, I heard that you defeated a Yan Yin Shangren and injured one seriously? Yes. Tell me. Kioske briefly talked about the battle that night. After listening to it, Oshimaru laughed and said, that is to say, your luck is good, and you have encountered 2 self-righteous Shangren. Otherwise, you would have died long ago. It's also good luck, otherwise it's really dead. Thinking back to the battle that night, it was really dangerous. Because Galobi didn't know the ability of elementalization, coupled with the red illusion, he mistakenly thought that he was an illusion, which allowed his attack to succeed, and Maki, that guy, was purely trying to get revenge, but he turned against him. If a ninja were to come, the 3 of them would have to confess in that woods. Still practice more. Dashiwan reminded. Yes. Also, in a month, the Chunin exam will begin. Ninja exam. As we all know, if Sha Ren wants to become Zhang Ren, in addition to the special promotion of the village high level, he must take the Zhang Ren exam. Basically, it is not a war or other special period, and occasionally joined exams with other villages, once a year. In addition to testing the ninja's own strength and signs of growth, it is also an inspection of the strength of each ninja village, and it is also to collect intelligence on the younger generation of each village. Advertisement, that's it. Zhenheng teacher hasn't told me yet. Shinzuki was lying on the hospital bed as soon as he came back. Yuri Zhenheng hasn't come to see him yet. Maybe something is going on. But I don't know when my body will recover. If the injury does not heal at the time, it will affect the fight. You don't need to worry about this. Your resilience is stronger than many people. With the medical ninjutsu and medicine in the hospital, you will be alive and kicking in about half a month. Dashiwan tested Chingsuke's physical fitness and was very strong, is no longer the physique that this age group should have. According to his speculation, it is most likely caused by his blood inheritance boundary. Ching-Ji's good physique is also due to his ability. The power of the devil fruit is changing his physique. Chakra is slowly increasing, and his physical physique is moving towards the abnormal physique of Pirate World. This is a good thing, at least the recovery from injury is faster. That's great, I don't want to hurt them. The Zhangmin exam must be taken by a team of 3 people. One is indispensable, and none of them can participate. If his injury is not good, he can't participate, and he can only wait the next year. With your strength, except for the first exam, you don't have to worry about the rest. I'll go back to do the test. Waved his hand, and left happily. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Are you taking the Jongnin exam? Kioske thought for a while. Although Wani and Sharon's identity is good, he still needs Jongnin. Let's recuperate first. Excuse me, oh, Kioske, are you awake? Asma and Hong ran in and saw Kioske, who woke up and said, would you like to listen to a good news? Jongnin exam. Yes, Zongren. Ah, how did you know? Teacher Zhenheng asked us to inform you. Why did you know in advance? Teacher Oshimaru just came here, he told me. He threw 2 apples to them. Hong took a piece of paper to him and said, this is a volunteer book for the Jongnin exam. Dad has already recommended us it, and all we need to do next is to pass the exam. Really? I heard that there seems to be a written test. What should we do with Asma? If it is an ninjutsu or physical training test, they are not at all empty. The key is that they are in the theory class. A scumbag, this is a bit sad. As a result, the 2 of them looked at Red with blank eyes. Red. Advertisement, he sighed and said, I really convinced you, don't you listen to them in class? Not listening to theoretical knowledge at all, Asma. I gave it back to the teacher. Shinjia. The teacher will cry when he hears it. Okay, I will find a way to help you. Long live. Great, leave the exams to us afterwards. Kioske is confident that he will win the battle afterwards. According to his own memory, 1 written test, the second team battle, and the third one is an individual battle. As long as he survives the first written test, he doesn't need to be counseled at all for the rest. Speaking of which, Kakashi is going to take another Jongnin exam. It's really sad. Kakashi graduated at the age of 5 and was upgraded to Jongnin at the age of 6. As a result, he still needs to take another Jongnin exam. Pitted. However, the current Jongnin exam must come together with 3 people. Unlike the later ones, if he doesn't participate, bringing 2 and Lin will not be able to participate. Unless he changes teammates, otherwise, he will never be able to participate in the Jongnin exam in his entire life. That's right, but with Kakashi's ability, it's okay to upgrade to Shangnin after a while. This is a fact. I have to admit that Kakashi is a genius. It is definitely not so easy to become a shinobu. It must be up to the standard in all aspects. Kakashi has that strength to become a shinobu. This may be a genius. Ah, genius is amazing, but I won't lose. I will definitely become Zongren, then Shangren, and then Naruto. I will definitely be better than my dad, Asima said confidently. No, you will quarrel with your Lao Su. At that time the rebellious period has come. Yes, you should become Zongren first. Kakashi is the 6th generation of Hokage. As for you, let's live it first. In other words, the Cthulhu church that they destroyed last time in Unokuni will no longer cultivate a flying segment. Chapter 31. Multiple Shadows. Shinji's physical recovery was much faster than Dashuan expected. It didn't take half a month, and he went through the discharge procedures in about 10 days. No one came to accompany him on the day he was discharged from the hospital. He was poor, weak and helpless, but he could eat. He ran to Yilei Ramen and ate a bowl full of tonkatsu ramen. Patting his chubby belly, he headed to the Hokage building contentedly and knocked on the door of the Hokage office. Go in. Excuse me, Naruto-sama. Kiyomizu walked into the office. 3 generations of Naruto Sarutobi were working on documents. He looked up and said with a smile. Kiyomitsu, wait a minute, I'll finish processing the documents here. You can sit as you please. Do you really have a place to sit here? The sofa is full of papers, and there really is no place to sit. I can only stand there. Within a few minutes, a document was solved by Sarutobi Ri. Seeing that Kiyomizu was still standing there and seeing the document on the sofa, he smiled helplessly. It's a bit busy, there are a lot of things, are you here to get a reward? He promised Yuri Zhenheng to let Kioske freely choose a ninjutsu in the sealed book, which was regarded as a reward for him. Yes. I was a little excited. The Book of Seal, alas, it recorded ninjutsu that caused great harm or even death to the user, the reincarnation of the filthy earth, the multiplication detonation talisman, the technique of multiple shadow clones, etc. These techniques are very powerful. Of course, there are other techniques. Kioske was very excited when he learned about it from Yuhi Mahong. Sarutobi Hizen took out a scroll from under the table, the larger one, and said, find it for yourself. Except for some crippling bands, you can choose one freely. Thank you, Hokage-sama. Reached out and took it, slowly opening it, and what appeared in front of him was the catalog. Advertisement. A book will definitely have a catalog. The most indispensable thing in the world is genius, and in the business of ninja, memory is very important. Some people can remember all the content on a piece of paper at a glance without a catalog. When you choose, you may remember the usage of all the techniques slowly by flipping through it. Looking at the catalog, Kioske carefully selected ninjutsu, and finally settled on a technique, and said, Naruto-sama, I want the multiple shadow avatars created by the 2nd generation of adults. Shadow clone is not a forbidden technique, but the technique of multiple shadow clones is. Since the technique of multiple shadow avatars can separate hundreds of avatars at one time, the consumption of chakras is too intense, and if you are not careful, you may be drained of chakras and die. Considering that people who do not have a large amount of chakras may endanger their lives by using this technique, the 2nd generation of Hokage listed it as a forbidden technique and sealed it in the scroll. To put it bluntly, if it is used by non-Shatin pull users, it can be weak from the whole body and lifeless if it is serious. If you don't invest a lot of chakras and use otter bombs, your own chakras can be considered as okay. There is nothing wrong with not separating hundreds of avatars at once. Have you considered it? If you use it improperly, you will lose your life. Sarutobi Hazaki reminded. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. It's okay, I have a sense of measure. Well, then you can learn it. Bang Shinzuki put the scroll in the position of the multiple shadow avatar technique. Only this technique can be seen, and the rest are put away. Write down the printing method and the various precautions above, recall for a period of time, and write down all the theoretical knowledge. The art of multiple shadow clones is not a difficult ninjutsu. It is an upgrade on the basis of shadow clones. It requires some requirements for the distribution of chakras, but nothing else. The 3 generations of Naruto are worthy of being called Dr. Ninja. The person reminded me. Being rated A is not because of the difficulty, but the danger and practicality of the technique. If you don't understand, you can directly ask me. With the principle of having the advantage and not occupying the waste, Kioske put forward a few points that puzzled him. Sarutobi cites a few common examples in life, which solved his problems in a simple way and made him understand better. Thorough. Thank you, Hokage-sama. I have mastered this technique, and then I just need to contact it. Ask me if you don't understand. Sarutobi nodded, put away the sealbook, and Shinzuki left. Can it grow into new green leaves? Kioske, I look forward to your performance. Advertisement Konoha Training Ground. Yuri Zhenhong looked at the 3 people in front of him and said, I have applied to Master Naruto for the right to use the Death Force and decided to give you 3 days of field survival training. Hiss tilde. Kioske took a breath. The death rate in the Death Forest is extremely high. It is full of venomous snakes and beasts, as well as some traps. Entering here is completely asking for trouble, but it is very suitable as an examination room. Naruto's Nakanin exam is here, where Nijuja met Mr. Oshimaru and was planted with his mark. They should not take the Jongnin exam this time. Otherwise, Yuri Zhenhong will not bring them over. It is not allowed to disclose the exam questions in advance. He will not do this, that is, he really wants to survive in the wild. Trained. You have to live here for 3 days, and there will be trackers. Your task is to survive and not be caught. Teacher Zhenhong, have you lived for 3 days? Shinzuki raised his hand and asked. Yes, at this time 3 days later, you will be able to come out when you see the flare I fired, Yuri Misaka said. I heard that it's dangerous. What if you die inside? Asma whispered, but was still heard by Yuhi Zhenhong. If you die here, then don't be a ninja. You will encounter it in the future. The danger will be 10 times or 20 times more dangerous than here. Don't expect the enemy to be merciful. Not every time is so lucky. Well, except for the ninja bag, don't bring anything else. You can go in. It is good. The 3 said, stepping into the deep forest of death and starting a 3-day survival training. Looking at the back of the 3 of them, Yuri Zhenhong silently put on the mask, and after a while, he was ready to follow. The purpose of this training is to cultivate their ability to survive independently, and to be able to live without them, and to test whether they have listened to the knowledge he taught before. Be regarded as in-class testing. The Death Forest is the same thing for these 3 children. It is not a problem to have serpents and beasts. He has never worried about this child, only his daughter and Asma are worried. Needless to say, Hong knows that her own daughter knows that there is no problem with theoretical knowledge, and the actual combat experience is still a bit short. There is no assertiveness when encountering a crisis. Asma is a thorny head, a bit rebellious, easy to act impulsively, full of youthful blood and recklessness. Seeing that the time was almost up, he walked into the Death Forest. Chapter 32. Dead Forest. Let's talk about the 3 Chingyas. As soon as they entered the Death Forest, they waited to see the red sunset behind them, and said, since the teacher Zhenhong said that there are trackers, then we may not have time to rest well. In this case, then get him away, use the shadow clone, and then divide the soldiers into 3 ways. Hong said, you are trying to confuse the tracker, but will the other party also be a clone? It's okay to disappear suddenly at that time. Kioske smiled mysteriously and said, use the shadow clone first. The 2 did the same, each separated 2 clones. The same goes for Chingia. The clones formed a team, and they dispersed, and Chingia took them deep into the forest. Shuttled between the trees and said, the tracker will follow us based on our footprints and other traces. Except for the footprints, we must find a way to erase everything from our body. How to do it? Asma asked. It's very simple, just find something heavy and apply it on your body. Kioske smiled wickedly. This is not a difficult task, it's just anti-tracking, so we have to be careful when we go and try not to leave footprints. It's light, it's very difficult to not leave footprints. Asma said, Red's weight is lighter, maybe it's okay. Are we both in trouble? It's also simple. Kioske smiled mysteriously, you don't need feet. You don't have a fever? You don't need your feet? What do you use without walking? Is it the tongue? Kiyomizu pulled out a small coil of steel wire and said, just use this, swing over the tree, try to choose a place that is not easy to find, and pay attention to the large beasts along the road. After finding it, Red controls it with illusion, and it becomes free. Feet strength. After hearing what he said, Hong sighed. Kyosuke, didn't you not attend the class? You know so much, and there are some things that the teacher hasn't taught. Has the teacher taught it? There's none? The 2 looked at each other, a little embarrassed, but Shinzuki kept looking at Hong, making Hong a little embarrassed, and turned his head away. Asma said tastefully, it's impolite for you to stare at Hong like that. Huh, what do you know? I don't want to be embarrassed. It must be someone else who is embarrassed. Look well and learn well. He patted Asma on the shoulder and said, "Go away, we can't stay in the field for survival training. Take a step." Advertisement winding the steel wire around Kuwu, Shinjia found a suitable big tree and threw it up. Kuwu nailed it to the moss-covered branch. Then, he jumped off the branch and swung his body to the opposite tree by inertia. Go up, and then tied the piece of steel wire he had grasped to kunai and threw it out again. Hong caught it, then swung over, Asma followed, and then he also made the same steel wire and threw it out, and Kioske would take it back, and then they alternated on their way. About an hour later, Hong pointed to a big bear that was 4 to 5 meters high under the tree and rubbed against the tree trunk and said, "That bear can let us sit on it." "Okay, Red, I beg you." Hong dragged the steel wire and slid down, came to the giant bear, easily controlled the giant bear with illusion, let the giant bear get down, Asma and Kioske fell on the bear's back. "Go." Hong smiled and let the big bear leave. The footprints he had left on the ground were replaced by those of the bear. They easily entered the depths of the death forest and rested on the edge of a river. Asma and Kioske caught a few fish for dinner. In order not to reveal where they are, they clear the sashimi they eat, but fortunately they're pure natural, pollution-free and resistant to manufacturing. At night, the three of them allocated a vigil time and had a good rest. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. In the dark night, Yuri Zhenheng was catching up along the trail. At first, the footprints made by the shadow clone did not confuse him, making anyone who could not be the shadow clone, but after following, he found that he was lost. He is a Konoha shinobu, and he has lost 3 shinobu brats, and he will be laughed to death by his peers if it is spread out. This can work. After his careful observation, he found that some trees had marks of suffering or not, and he understood that these little guys rushed in an inconspicuous way, smelling the smell in the air. It was the smell of the virgin forest. Nodded, even the smell was also cleaned up, leaving no conspicuous traces, which is not bad. He didn't have to worry about leaving any traces, chasing the traces of Kuwu, but in the end, he found that he was really lost and couldn't find anything. He didn't know where they went. Are they really Xing Ren? Yuri Zhenheng couldn't help but think. This kind of anti-reconnaissance ability is already powerful, and some Shangren are not as good as they do. This is a fact. Being tracked by a Shangren without leaving any conspicuous traces is already a very rare thing. The performance is good, but the death forest is not as simple as an ordinary forest. In the dark, Asma watched the surroundings, and Kioske lay on the tree, Hong leaning against the tree. Advertisement: the ears are melodious insects. The forest at night is far more frightening than during the day. Through the darkness, a large number of predators began to come out foraging. Asma heard the wailing of wild beasts and teeth-biting prey more than once, and the sound of gnawing bones. Entering the night, this forest seemed to come alive. Fortunately, Hong and Shinzuki are here. Huh? Where's Shinjia? Kioske, who was still on the tree just now, suddenly disappeared, and Asma was so scared that he woke up and said, "Kyosuke is gone." "Did you not notice?" Hong asked, rubbing his eyes. "No, I'll just turn around." "Damn, uncle, you want to eat me, are you impatient?" Shinji's curse came, followed by the howling of wild beasts and the sound of sharp weapons passing through the flesh and blood. Soon after, Kioske dragged a snake out of the grass and said, "I was almost swallowed." The python secretly swept him away, and was about to drag him into the grass to eat, but it was a hard stubble, but he was killed instead. "Fortunately, it's okay." Hong patted his flat chest, obviously relieved. Asma smiled and said, "You slept too dead, right? I don't know if you were dragged away by a snake." Kioske glared at him. "You are ashamed to say that you are a night watch. You don't know how I was dragged away, and you still watch a fart night." Wu tilde. The howling of wolves came, and in the dark forest, a pair of dark green eyes lit up, cold and greedy. "There are wolves, jump to the tree." The three of them jumped up the tree. The wolves were big, about 1.5 meters high at the shoulders, but they couldn't climb the tree, so they could only watch them eagerly. Roar. The crisis came suddenly, and on the opposite tree, a black panther suddenly rushed over, but was killed by Asma with a shuriken. The first night was really exciting. Chapter 33. It's all lie to you. For breakfast, I ate fruits from the dead forest. Although it is dangerous here, the fruit tastes good. A group of 3 people still wandered in the woods like a personal ape Taishan. Suddenly, Asma stepped on a tree, and a whirring sound came from the top of her head and immediately jumped away. A group of Konoha leeches about the same height as them fell off. Asma patted her chest and rejoiced. "Fortunately, okay, I was almost attacked. If I get a bite of blood, I must be skinny. If you take such a big leech, you will lose the person." "It's okay, it's better than wolves. Last night, in order to avoid the wolves, it took a lot of effort. They can track the scent of their prey, and their noses are very good. This is not the first time. The death forest is really troublesome. There are a lot of dangerous animals." Shinzuki looked around and found no trackers, but there were indeed a lot of predators in the dark, except for the moment they fell asleep just after the night. "After a nap, I was avoiding predators at night. It's no use escaping to the tree, where there are pythons and other predators that are active on the tree. They all faced this group of guys all night, also, who said that tigers can't climb trees. Last night, the tiger covered in tendons crawled up the tree and tried to eat them. The result? Well, tiger skin carpet. No, we have to find a place to rest and do night activities. Otherwise, if there are trackers, we won't have the strength to escape." Kioske thought for a while and said, "By the way, Shinzuki, don't you know how to psychic? Let the serpent guard us," Hong suggested. Shinzuki shook his head and said, "No, spiritism has a time limit. The serpent who comes out of spiritism will go back once the time is up, and can't stay here. Okay. Don't talk about it, let's find a tree hole to rest. Asma pointed to the big tree below and said, there is a tree hole below, you can go there. Can. Shinzuki and Hong nodded, and the three of them jumped off the tree and came to the entrance of the tree hole. There was a musty smell inside. When they went in, it was very humid and there were some animal bones, which smelled strange. Kioske opened his hand and scorched the ground with fire, igniting the leaves on the ground, and evaporating the water, allowing it to dry up in the temperature inside, but this is still acceptable in this cool morning. Wind escape breakthrough. A gust of wind blew out of her mouth, let the smoke inside dissipate, and the ashes on the ground were blown out. Asma walked out of the cave, and soon after, dragged a pile of dry wood and fallen leaves to block the cave in disguise. With a flame burning in his hand, lighting up the tree hole, Kiyomizu said, it's about noon until noon, we're going out to find lunch. What about the tracker? In other words, are there really trackers? Asma lay on the ground with her head in her arms and said, could it be that teacher Zhenheng lied to us? Based on my father's character, he said that he has it. Hong thought for a while and said, however, we have hidden our own traces along the way, and we have also made a lot of false traces that can mislead people. It should be difficult to find. Advertisement. Well, let's not talk about it, the soldiers will come to cover the water and cover, let's sleep first. Okay, I'm sleepy, I'll go to bed first. As for Yuri Zhenheng, he did not find the three little guys, so he had to use the human sea tactics to search for them. His current state is that he will not see people or dead bodies, but can't find them. This anti-reconnaissance ability made him ashamed to death. For the next 2 days, the three Kioske wandered around in the forest, just not giving Yuri Zhenheng a chance to find them. Yuri Zhenhongtang was a shinobu, but he didn't find them. 2 days later, the three of them walked out of the forest of death again, exhausted and dirty. Even the red body, who loves cleanliness, was dirty, not to mention Asma and Kioske. Except for dust, there was blood in their hair. Still holding fallen leaves. Yuri Zhenheng was silent for a moment, although he didn't catch up with them, it seemed. The days were not so good. What's the matter with you? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi, 3 days. Kioske said suddenly, Teacher Zhenheng, do you know how we spent these 3 days? How did you live? Yuri Zhenheng asked, dirty, red. Can't eat enough, Shinzuki, can't sleep well, Asma. Yuri's face is really red and serious, this is life in the wild. You must remember this experience. You must know that in the future when you perform tasks and encounter bad environments, you may encounter more dangerous situations than you. Understand? Understand. The three answered feebly. Xingjia asked, Teacher Zhenheng, what about the tracker you were talking about? Upon hearing this, Yuji Zhenheng coughed and said, there are no stalkers, just scaring you. If they knew that they were lost, they would not be able to lift their heads in front of these children in the future. Still don't say it. Hongyu said bitterly, Dad, I didn't expect you to be so honest and lie. I really misunderstood you. Advertisement, read. As an illusionist ninja, you shouldn't use your thoughts to guess me. Remember what I told you, don't be fooled by the appearance of things. You are also the abbot of crazy Qingyang, Shinzuki said. Unexpectedly, Teacher Zhenheng with thick eyebrows and big eyes would actually deceive people. Ahem. Yes, my old man also said that Teacher Zhenheng is a good ninja who is serious and honest with others. Asma nodded. Yuri Zhenheng coughed even harder. No, I can't say, for the sake of my future image. He sternly said, this is an exercise. Look at what you look like. Well, it's pretty good. Take what I said to your heart. When the Qingjia trio wanted to hit someone, they knew that there was no tracker, so they would not waste their energy and run around. They just lived in that tree hole for 3 days and lived comfortably. Pit. Okay, the exercise is over, go back and have a good rest. In addition, the ninja test will begin in a while. You must prepare well during this period and you must not underestimate the enemy. Yes. Okay, let's all go back and have a good rest. I want to go back to take a bath, Hong said. Kaisuke, I want to go to your house to soak in the hot springs, Asma said. Sure. Hong looked over enviously. She also wanted to go to the hot springs, but it was a pity that she would go to the hot springs at Shinji's house. No, let's go to Konoha's hot spring street. It's big enough, and Red can go to the female bath to soak. Then I will go home to get my clothes. Yuri Zhenheng said, in this case, I will ask you to go to the hot springs. The three blinked, then stared at him, plus a big meal. Great, chapter 34. Chunin test begins. Come to life, come to life. Kioske and Asma leaned in the hot springs, screaming, and the exhaustion of the 3 days seemed to have been washed away. Yuri Zhenheng lay on one side, enjoying the hot spring, and said, how about, is it comfortable? Yes, it would be better if there was an iced drink, Asma said with a smile. If you want to be beautiful, this hot spring does not have this service. Also, my lord Jiraiya, why are you here? Kioske squinted at the white hair drinking on the edge of the hot spring. Jilai also said, what's the matter? I can't take a hot spring here anymore. You little devil manages it very broadly, and Dashawan is not as broad as you. No, you are definitely here to spy. How come? I'm just curious, there are times when a busy big man like you has some time to relax. Don't compare me with Dashimaru's house. I'm very busy as a fairy. Besides, a little ghost from a 3-generation-old man's house, do you want to peep in your eyes? Jilai is also worthy of being a bit yellow in the 3 forbearances. As a person who has come, He knows what this kid wants in his heart when he looks at Asma's eyes, with 3-point desire, 3-point fear and 4-point expectation in his eyes. They are young and frivolous, but when he grows up, fear no longer exists. Being disturbed by Zli, Asma blushed and defended. How is it possible? How can it be impossible? Immortal, I am a person who came here. Besides, your old man is also an old man. Your eldest brother was the first time I took him with him. Thinking back to the green years back then, Zli also sighed, that running in the sunset is his lost youth. Now think about it, he is just an uncle with a passing age. No, I am going to find my youth tonight. Impossible, how could the old man and the eldest brother be the same as this unscrupulous guy? Asma felt wrong, the old man listened to his mother very much at home, and the eldest brother was also a serious person, and warned him not to be with someone called Zli Yi. Baimao went to play together. Thinking about it now, there seems to be something wrong. Don't be confused by the appearance of things, so you kid is still young, ha ha ha, you will understand when you grow up. Zli also laughed and said nothing. He still has some information about his master's dark history. When the old man quits, he will find a way to shake the dark history out and let this old guy die socially. Well, let's be with Dashimaru then, advertisement. Yuri Zhenheng coughed, Master Jiraiya, they are only children, so don't let them come into contact with this knowledge. Ha ha ha, just kidding, don't mind. By the way, it's called Kioske, right? How about the teaching level of Dashimaru? Teacher Oshimaru always answers questions and often teaches me ninjutsu. I just like to do experiments, all kinds of heavy-mouth animal experiments, and sometimes I like to play missing. I can't see people for several days. It looks like that guy is okay. Drinking a little wine, his face flushed, and Jilai also had a chat with them. I met them by accident today, but it's just a chat. There are still 3 generations. The kid at home, it's funny. It's almost time to soak. Shinzuki and the others walked out, and Yuri Zhenheng asked them to eat a big meal, and he covered the cost. After eating a meal, go back to each house and find each mother. Longdadong. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Ichikishima looked at the incoming Kioske and asked curiously, Little Kioske, are you here to learn immortality? No, that's not in a hurry. I want to ask if you have any small snakes that can speak human words. It's best to have the same vision as normal people. Yes, what are you going to do? Ichikishima was even more puzzled. Come too, Shinzuki said, I need their help for the exam, and I will thank you again after it's done. You are cheating. Shikijima-ji smiled. It's not bad to help you, but you have to bring me something interesting. No problem. As long as you can pass, there is no problem at all. If he passed the exam, he immediately sent the collector's edition of the comic. Yes, come with me. Konoha 43 Summer. The Jongnin exam officially started. Advertisement for this Jongnin exam, Konoha and several well-connected Chunin villages, such as Sandyuki Ninja Village, Kus Ninja Village, Takainen Village, Takumi Ninja Village, and Urinen Village, started the Jongnin exam. Among the 5 great ninja villages, Konoha and Cheyenne villages have a good relationship. Yan Yin and Yin Yin are a bit dangerous, and Wuyin village is closed, so they simply ignore these things. It's not just the Jongnin exam that can be promoted to Zongren. There are other methods. The most common one is the Zongren exam. Generally speaking, it is once a year. If it fails this year, there will be next year, but it will take another year. D-level task only. Shinzuki yawned at a discount and walked to the examination room. He was woken up by the excited Asma early this morning. It was obviously just an exam, which made it difficult to pass. Why are you not in a hurry? Asma asked. Of course I have the confidence to pass. This is for you. He took out 2 snakes from his arms and gave them one to Hong and Asma, and said, the red snake is used to peek at other people's test papers. Asma this, but we have completely solved our 2 difficult problems. Oh, great, my old man would kill me if he knew that I couldn't pass the first exam. You deserve to be my best friend. Asma held the little snake, like a treasure. Red face and black line, this is the consequence of not listening in class, but did not refuse the good intentions of the referral. After all, what if she doesn't? Konoha examination room. The Shurin from various villages gathered together, and the number of people in each village was different, but the total number of people totaled 300 to 400. With so many people, I am afraid that many people will be eliminated in the first round of exams. There are so many people. Our examination room is at least 60 or 70, Hong said as he looked at the ninjas from the outer village with bad eyes. This group of Shurin sat together, and they were not pleasing to each other. If it weren't for the fact that they would be immediately disqualified from the exam because they were passive in the Jongnin exam, this group of bloody Shurin would have started fighting. There are frictions in various villages, but there are big and small, regardless of Konoha and Sa-Yin are allies. In fact, if the knife is stabbed, one is more ruthless than the other. The group that found Konoha sat together at the same time, was surprised to see the dirt, and said, take the dirt, you guys are not late. The late king is not late, how surprising is this? Huh. Don't underestimate me. I'm very punctual. Smugly. Kakashi was tearing down the stage. If Lin hadn't called you in advance, I guess you won't be there in the afternoon. Daitu's face became stiff. Well, this is the truth. Chapter 35. The first exam. By the way, Kakashi, you are already Jongnin, and you have to take another Jongnin exam. Isn't it a bit of a pitfall? Kioske smiled. Yes, yeah, I have already participated once, but I still have to participate again. Asma nodded. This is youth. Worthy of being my eternal opponent, Kakashi. I'm on fire. Kai suddenly burned on his own side. Kakashi said nonchalantly, Ms. Watergate's mission is nothing. Ah, but, have you collected information about this group of people? Kiyomizu asked with a smile. I only know that Cheyenne Village has sent a blood succession boundary this time. Kakashi said softly. I heard that it was Xiao Dun. Zhao Dun. In Chingsuke's impression, Yakura in Cheyenne Village has a beautiful girl who looks like a beautiful girl. She was originally a hero in Cheyenne Village, but she was betrayed by the 4 generations of Fengying and was buried in the smog. Chingsuke looked towards Cheyenne Village and saw a green-haired loli with her green hair tied into a ball head, tied to the forehead of Cheyenne Village, with 2 strands of orange bangs hanging down on both sides. Yima Pingchuan's figure, well, looks about the same size as himself, and I can't expect anything, but the future can be expected. She seemed to feel malice. Little Lori looked over and glanced at Chingsuke. After showing a slightly hostile look, she continued to talk to her teammates. It's her, that's how it is. I heard from teacher Da Xuan that Zhou Dun is a very dangerous blood inheritance boundary, Chingsuke said. Scorching is a new property change produced by the combination of the wind attribute chakra and the fire attribute chakra. When used, it can evaporate the water in the human body and turn it into a dry corpse. This is a woman more terrifying than Juicer G. Indeed, you must be careful if you run into her. That's right, it was noisy in the examination room. At this moment, a group of people pushed in the door, holding a craft paper bag and a paper box in their hands. The headed man had a serious face, and the aura of Shangren suddenly calmed everyone. It's all quiet. Let's take a spot check to arrange seats and line up. The ninjas obediently lined up to draw lots. I am the 25th, Chingjia said, holding the number plate in his hand. Advertisement, I am the 18th, Asma said. Hong said, number 4, it looks so far away. Fortunately, I made 2-handed preparations. Asma patted her chest and said with joy. Okay, it's time to take an exam. According to the number plate seat, the examiner glanced at it and said, I am the examiner of the first test. Mochizuki sees the stars. Next, I will talk about the rules of the test. I will only say it once. Seeing him quietly, he nodded and said, Rule 1, the test time is 60 minutes and there are a total of 10 questions. Each person starts with 10 points. If you don't answer one question or answer incorrectly, 1 point will be deducted. 3 points will be deducted for 3 wrong answers, and so on. All the answers are correct, and so on. All the wrong answers have 0 points, and the guys who don't score will get out with your teammates. Rule 2, if you are caught cheating, 2 points will be deducted once. After 5 times, the score will be cleared. The team will get out. Don't use your botched cheating skills to fool us. All of you here are Konoha's elites who are specially used to deal with this. For the next Jongnin exam, work hard and start this exam like a real ninja. Well, that's all. The test papers are distributed below. In addition, questions are not allowed during the test. After that, 1 by 1 test papers were distributed to the candidates. Looking at the test questions on the test paper, Chingsuke fell into silence. The first question to decrypt the secret code was just like making a celestial book. He didn't understand it and couldn't infer information from scattered information. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. The second question. Ninja Ace stands on a 10-meter high bush and throws a shuriken. The picture shows the maximum range of Ninja Ace shuriken. According to the picture, the answer will appear in the ellipse of the shuriken. The characteristics and the maximum range of the plane combat and give the basis. Kioske. How do I know the characteristics of the enemy ninja? The maximum range is not how hard you use, how far is the range. According to, I will give you MMP. He feels that he is back to the situation when he was doing high numbers. No, it is even more ruthless now. At least I knew a little bit before, but now my eyes are really black and I don't know anything. I don't need to read the next 8 exam questions. Obviously, I can't do it. He patted the snake wrapped in his sleeve. The snake climbed up his shoulder along the sleeve, peeked out of his collar, and said in his ear, Sir Kioske, what's your order? Chingjia said in a voice that they could only hear between them. Have you seen these exam questions? Find one that can be copied, see who finishes it, and look it up. Yes. Advertisement. The snake crawled along his neck to the top of his head and looked around unscrupulously. The surrounding examiners saw this, thought about it, and no points were deducted. The test questions in this exam are not about basic knowledge, but about the ninja's ability to collect information. This method of collection is not bad, it's okay. A snake ran out of Asma's head. Obviously, this kid had also given up. There is no red one, it should be within the scope of her knowledge, and this time the examination questions have obviously touched the knowledge blind zone of Chingsuke and Asma. About half an hour later, Kakashi handed in the paper in advance. At this time, the snake came to Chingsuke's ear and said, Master Chingsuke, I'm finished. Bring it on. The snake got into his sleeve and bit on his arm. The toxin got into his body. Then, everything the snake saw appeared before his eyes. When he found the snake, he suddenly remembered that the snake in Longadong was illiterate, so he had to ask Shichudaoji to find out if there were any snakes that could speak and read. Shichujima told him that it was impossible for a snake to be literate, but gave him recommend this snake. It can transmit its own memory to the bitten party through toxins. This setting is a bit familiar, but Kioske doesn't care, he is eager to have this kind of snake. The memory that the snake saw just now reappeared in front of him, and he immediately wrote the answer to the question smoothly on it based on the memory. The time was almost up. The candidates who couldn't answer the test all showed their magical powers. Konoha's writing wheel and white eyes copied the answer silently. Various cheating methods are emerging in the puppetry of Cheyenne Village and the ninjas of Craftsman Ninja Village. Of course, there are also candidates with poor cheating methods, just like the examiner is blind, and they copy them openly. After 5 questions, they withdraw from the exam together with the team. A fool was caught and refused to admit it. The examiner taught him to be a man on the spot and kicked him and his teammates out of the examination room. The exam is over. Hand in the paper. The invigilator gave an order, and everyone stopped their actions. Looking at the remaining people, the chief examiner nodded and said, "Very good, hand in the paper." Chapter 36. Show you're ugly. Your results will be announced in a while. Anyone without a name on the bulletin board will fail. It is true that this time the test is for intelligence gathering ability, but there are also people who are timid, have not broken up, and have poor grades. If this kind of basic knowledge is unqualified, they will brush it down. Without the ability to collect intelligence, and without the corresponding knowledge on the battlefield, doing missions is a death. It is better to let them continue to be the ninjas and practice for a few more years. Hearing this, Kioske slapped his lips. Sure enough, in the Prince's Jongmin exam, Ibis, the interrogator, played with the hearts of the people in the last question, so that the candidates would not dare to abandon the chance of promotion for the gamble, thus brushing out a group of people. And the test method for this year is to look at the intelligence gathering ability and basic knowledge. You must know one or none of the two, so go home and play the egg. The examiners left, and Xingjie and others gathered around. Asma and Hong returned the snake that Xingjie had given him. Asma said, "Easy to use is easy to use, but it hurts. I haven't used it yet. Although the exam questions are a bit difficult, they are still within the acceptable range," Hong said. "For us, it is in the knowledge blind zone." Shinzuki asked the snakes to return to the Longdi cave, stretched out, and said, "Oh, that's great, it's finally over what I don't want to touch." Exams or something will always be his enemy. Yeah, it's time for Uncle Tuo to show off his power. Tuo too leaned forward enthusiastically. The two looked at him suspiciously and said, "Do you think you can pass the exam?" "Of course, Lin's help," Lin said embarrassedly. "Taking soil is not good in this respect." "Yeah, we know, it's an idiot to bring dirt. You are an idiot. B asterisk 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 D Asma. You are going to fight. Come on." The two pinched together, and the other 3 showed helpless expressions. Soon after the results were announced, Lin's name ranked first, and Kakashi was the second. Xingjie and others live in the center. It's okay. They just need to pass the exam. As for how many people are, they don't care at all. Where am I? Where am I? Brought the soil enthusiastically looking for his own name among a bunch of names. Found it. I'm next to Shinzuki. Kioske looked over and said silently, "That's Uchiha Rundo, not Uchiha's soil. You fool, you are at the bottom." Advertisement. Take the soil and look at it. It is really true. At the bottom, it is written in a line of small letters. The following are the candidates who are qualified. Uchiha takes the soil. Just a little bit, the soil will be eliminated. Great, passed. Tai 2 jumped up excitedly. I really don't understand. Minglin took the first place in the exam, but you almost never did it. How did you copy it? This. The alternate is qualified, it's worthy of bringing dirt, Kakashi said against the wall. What are you talking about? Isn't it a tyrant who is not angry with the soil? Isn't it a genius? What's so arrogant? Okay, you two don't quarrel anymore. Lin became a peacemaker. You don't have time to be happy now. A Konoha ninja walked over and said, "Those who pass the test will come to the classroom immediately, and the explanation meeting for the second exam will begin soon." The crowd sat together in a small group of 3 people and listened to the ninja on the stage saying, "The second exam will test practical skills. You must use what you have learned in ninjutsu to obtain qualified qualifications. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. However, this is a team confrontation with a class as a unit. If there is a shortage of people, then the class will be disqualified, and the exam will be at the Konoha training ground 3 days later. Remember not to be late." Above, disband. After leaving the classroom, Kioske said, "Do you eat barbecue or ramen at night?" "Well, barbecue." Asma pondered for a while. Hong looked at the 2 unstressed people and asked, "Aren't you too nervous?" "It's useless to be nervous. You don't need to be nervous if you're able to fight, and you don't need to be nervous if you can't fight. It's impossible to say that after 3 days of work, it's impossible to say that your strength can be elevated to a state of invincible forbearance." Thinking about it, Hong nodded and said, "It does make sense. Take me one tonight. Eat and drink enough, pat his stomach and go home, and have a good night's sleep." The next morning, Kiyomizu went to Da Shuan and found that he was not at home, so it seemed that he had gone out. "Originally, I was thinking about cheating ninjutsu from Oshimaru in the name of knocking an exam, but now it seems to be impossible. Forget it. Find a cleaner place and take a break." Thinking about this, he decisively went to the waterfall. "It's okay, that's right, this hot summer and such a hot weather, there are a lot of young ladies in the waterfall. What can he think of as a 10-year-old kid? Advertisement, of course it is to practice, only. Why is there a white-haired uncle here? Oh, this angle. Nice." Jilai also hid in the grass, his eyes shone brightly, and Hirazi ran across the ground. "Hello, Lord Jilai, what are you doing?" Hearing someone calling himself behind him, Jilai said without looking back. Go, don't be here, my lord, the immortal's yaxing. Oh, is there such a Q-bomb? Chingjia. _ Looking at Jiraiya, Ji thought, squeezing his throat, imitating Tsunade's voice and tone, "Jiraiya, what are you doing?" Hearing this voice, Ji Lai was so scared that his hair exploded, and turned his head stiffly, and saw Kioske who was suffocating. Filled down pointing triangle dish hash, boy, Did you see your death omen star shining above your head? Really? Where do the stars come from in the broad daylight? Rolling up his sleeves, revealing the unicorn arm that has been training for many years, Jiraiya smiled and said without a smile. It seems that Dashawan's teaching level is still not good. I will take care of him for him. It's just a joke, Master Jiraiya, don't be so serious. Really, I'm just kidding. Your smile doesn't look like a joke at all. Well, I have a technique here that can compensate Master Jiraiya. You are a little ghost trick, I can't look down on it. Jiraiya also curled his lips. Kioske was full of confidence and said, this technique can make many shinobi incapacitate. It is an extremely dangerous technique, even for Jiraiya-sama. Little devil. Don't speak big words, I have never seen a fairy. The wind comes in the rain, I have been to the battlefield, and I have been in the bathhouse. You can even use the tricks of a little ghost. I lose the ability to fight. What are you kidding me? Jiraiya also sneered. Then, Lord Jiraiya, don't regret it, show your ugliness, sexual seduction. Chapter 37. Gale Palm. Seduction. Bang. After a burst of white smoke, Jiraiya looked at the beauty in front of him and suddenly covered his nose. The big-breasted blonde double ponytail poked his XP straight. I underestimated you. You changed back first. As you said, it is a dangerous technique. If it weren't for the fairy I had experience, I might have been planted here with your kid. Jiraiya is also ashamed, and only feels that the back waves of the Yangtze River pushes the front waves, and each wave is more than one wave. This sun will become a great weapon in the future. He stuffed his nose with a piece of paper, patted the back of Kyosuke's shoulder and said, I forgive you, Kioske, if it weren't for Dashiwan to accept you as his disciple, you would definitely be my disciple. Such a talent, it's a pity to give Dashiwan. Although Mr. Oshimaru is a little bit colder, a little bit perverted, and doesn't like people a little bit, other things are pretty good. Jiraiya also wiped the cold sweat from his forehead and said, you say that, Dashiwan seems to be nothing good. Are you really a disciple of Dashimaru? By the way, how did you know Tsunade's voice? I met her at the casino when I went to Unokuni for a mission. So she went to Unokuni. Jiraiya nodded when Tsunade was whereabouts, and suddenly said, what are you doing in the casino? Does your kid know what the 3 ninja prohibitions are? Beauty. You still know. I'm not curious, so I went in and took a look, and found Tsunade-sama. Then you made a fortune? Shinzuki asked suspiciously. How did you know? I think the first pot of gold for Oshimaru and I came from Tsunade. Jiraiya smiled and said with a reminiscence expression, I was really young and frivolous back then, really, it was clearly with Oshimaru. Yeah, why is this woman only beating me? Maybe it's because you owe it. However, Tsunade's physique of the big sheep is passive, and once the big prize is opened, it is time for bad luck. By the way, what are you doing here? Shouldn't it? Jiraiya showed his original expression, stabbed Kioske, teased. You deserve to be a ninjutsu kid who develops an excellent lure technique, come on. Here is a peeping young lady. Kioske was full of justice. How is it possible? Am I that kind of person? Lord Jiraiya, I'm still a child, don't think of me as your kind of pervert. Besides, can the ninja thing be called peeping? Me. It's just collecting material for the S*X lure technique. Advertisement his tilde Ji-Lai also took a breath. The future of this son is limitless. The kid called Kioske. Jiraiya clasped Kyosuke's shoulders with both hands and looked at him seriously. What are you doing? Kiyomizu was taken aback. The look in his eyes was a bit scary. If you develop a ninjutsu similar to the seduction technique in the future, please be sure to find a fairy to experiment, and I will definitely guide you. Are you just lustful? Forget it. This guy can hold on to the seduction technique, and the harem technique might die suddenly on the spot. Now Jiraiya is not an old driver who will read countless women in the future. He can only say that he has experience now, and is far less powerful than he was later. For the sake of his health, let it go. Yada. Junko, don't touch it. The young lady's voice came from a shy and timid voice, and Jiraiya's body trembled and immediately turned to look at the waterfall. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Kiyomizu looked at it contemptuously, climbing a tree, occupying a high place. You ask why you go up the tree? Because the trees are cool, but after a while he jumped down and started sitting on the ground to gather chakra. As for why it came down, he is a little hot. Condensing chakras is a boring process, but it can increase the total amount of chakras. This condensing lasted for an hour. I opened my eyes and found that this fellow Jiraiya was still watching. He scratched his butt, and then changed his posture to continue watching. He touched his stomach and was a little hungry. At this time, the bush moved and a rabbit ran out of the bush. Kyosuke's eyes lit up. Meat. He skinned the rabbit, cleaned its internal organs, and put it on his left hand. Your ability is really convenient. Smelling the smell, Jiraiya turned his head and watched Shinji roasting the rabbit with his own hands, and couldn't help but say. You don't need to burn wood at all, you only need to have chakras to keep burning, and the firepower can be adjusted at will, which is not easy to use. He carried a small amount of seasonings such as salt and pepper with him. After all, he was a mobile grill. It would be a pity not to use it, and the aroma quickly became tangy. Advertisement. Good craftsmanship. Jiraiya tiered himself a rabbit leg in a grand manner, and Shinzuki was dissatisfied. Hey, I have to eat my own and get it. Boy, fairy, it's your honor to eat a bite of your meat, and I won't eat you for nothing, so how about giving you a ninjutsu? Oh, what ninjutsu? Come and listen. Kyosuke's eyes lit up. A rabbit leg for a ninjutsu, no matter how you think it is earned. Your kid has a special physique. Huo Dun can be displayed casually, so let's forget Huo Dun. Do you have any other chakras? Huo Dun teaching Shinzuki is a waste of time. If he wants to, he only needs to increase the output of chakra. Any Huo Dun can be displayed easily. There is no need for seals, so it is really useless for him to learn Huo Dun. Instead of that, it's better to learn something else. I have two attributes, wind and fire, Shinzuki replied. There is also a wind attribute, let me think about it. Let me teach you a sea level, wind dun grease palm. Good, good. Something is better than nothing, although it is a sea level ninjutsu, it depends on who uses it. Think of Master Ban's use of S-class power with a B-class fire escape. This is the difference in strength. Listen well, the way of Yan Yin is. Next, Jiraiya also teaches the method and precautions of Shinzuki Gale Palm's knot printing method. Unlike Dashuan's teaching method, Jiraiya's teaching is more humorous and witty. Isn't it possible to joke with you, talk about meaty jokes, in the paragraph? With the usage method, it is also very quick to understand, and the effort of a meal can be said clearly and plainly. And the next step is to practice the technique of multiple shadow clones. Distribute the chakras reasonably, instantly separate 20 shadow avatars, and say, everyone, take an afternoon to learn Gale Palm. Oh. Many Qingjia raised their hands and devoted themselves to cultivation. The smart way, relying on the shadow clone to reduce the length of training. Zilai also smiled, and continued to start his own peeping. Wind escape Gale Palm, wind escape Gale Palm. Wind escape Gale Palm. A low noise behind his back made his brain hurt, and he looked back at the referees who were serious in cultivating. Forget it, I'll go somewhere else, it's so noisy. Chapter 38. The second round begins. The second exam officially begins, and the teams draw lots to determine their opponents. Following the order from the invigilator, each ninja team sent people to draw lots to determine their opponents. Who is ours? Kioske and Asma looked at Red Road. It's Aoba and the others in Shanshung. That's it. Mountain Castle Aoba, and the same thing, there is also Morino Ibiki. Kioske clapped his hands and smiled. It looks like we can easily win. Don't take it lightly, Hong warned. Asma didn't care too much, saying, don't worry, Hong, with Shinzuki and I, as long as you don't meet the guy Kakashi, you don't have to worry about losing. He waved his hand and signaled Hong Anshin. Okay. She is not worried, after all, where the strength of Shinzuki is, there is only one Kakashi in the same period who can threaten him. People in other villages don't know. Huh? Shinzuki saw Lin's expression a little flustered, while Kakashi on one side was very impatient, walked over and smiled. This guy with soil, is late again? This guy, I must kill him, Kakashi said in a bad tone. Although he had passed the examination, he didn't want to lose. Lin said helplessly. He should be here, when do you start? One more time, Kioske said, with Ibis and the others. Your strength can beat them. Kakashi said. He could see that the last time he went on a mission with them, only Kioske, a classmate who had been with them for a year, made him shine. Moreover, that clone blasting technique is quite powerful. If it weren't for an exam to kill people, that technique would be abolished. Otherwise, this guy will definitely be able to pass this Jonin exam. Now, it's possible. S*X is just pulled down. The important teacher who brought the soil shouldn't be late, wait a minute, I'm leaving first. Asma over there was already calling him, and the game officially started. Let's go see it too, Lin. Okay. The crowd gathered around the arena, and the three of Kioske stood ready, and the three of Ibis, who were on the opposite side, looked solemn. After all, Kioske was not easy to deal with when they were classmates. Since Kakashi left, no one in the actual combat class has been able to win from his hands. And there is this guy Asma. So, start, the referee gave an order, and Asma made a seal on her hand and opened her mouth to spray, fire escape how fireball art. Advertisement how fireball flew straight towards the three of them. Kioske folded his palms on one side, and the violent wind rushed out, wind escape, Gale Palm. The wind assisted the fire and strengthened the power of the How fireball. Dodge. The formation of the three Ibis was broken up, and then the three Kioske rushed out and found their opponents. Ding ding ding. Kumo collided with each other, and Kiyasuke's sharp movements put pressure on Yamashiro Aoba. The kunai in front of him was played out in his hands, and it was almost impossible to predict where the next blow would come from, making it elusive. Here, Shinzuki said. Yamashiro Aoba subconsciously followed the voice and looked at it, but suddenly tripped under her feet. Then, Kiyomizu turned around, and a whirling kick came. Bad. Yamashiro Aoba shed cold sweat and quickly agreed, supporting the ground with one hand, and his body reacted. Kiyasuke's round kick was scraped from his face. The opportunity is here. Taking advantage of his recovery, Shanshung Aoba seized the opportunity and slammed it up. Unexpectedly, a snake suddenly appeared in Shinji's collar, and tangled his body tightly, unable to move. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Ninja won't give the back to the enemy, so how could I give you the back? After Kioske finished speaking, he rushed towards Ibis who was fighting with the red. There have been back and forth with the red fight, and Ibis suddenly noticed the defeat of Yamashiro Aoba and the attack of Kioske. His heart was bad, and he threw a lot of shurikens, but none of them hit the target. Come on. Baji sticks to the mountain. Furiously, Ibizi was knocked out with one blow. Shulking snake hand. Several snakes flew out, and Ibis, who was still in the air, was tied up by the snake and could not move. On the other side, Asma will also knock down the same. The victory is divided. Winner, Asakawa Kioske, Sarutobi Asma, Yuihong. Eliminate them and conduct another team battle to advance to the third round. Win beautiful. Off the court, Kakashi said. Lin smiled and said, congratulations on your victory. Kakashi is a rare compliment. Shinzuki, you performed very well. Of course. Kioske patted his chest. Advertisement. Asma said, I'm working hard too. Okay. Yes, you worked very hard. Hong smiled, looked at the two Kakashi, and said, take the soil. Haven't come yet? That guy. Kakashi was impatient. Lin also has a headache for the lateness attribute of bringing soil. The relationship between the elderly with soil and Konoha is because they are late every time because they are helping the elderly. Even Watergate doesn't know what to say, but he is very supportive of bringing soil to help the elderly. It is also a good thing that the Uchiha clan with eyes above the top has a strange kind like soil. Of course Kioske knows that Taito is helping the old man now. If this guy hadn't been blackened because of Lin's death, he would not be impossible to become Hokage in the future according to his behavior and exploits, plus his own strength. It's a pity that he met Madara, Lord, this guy who was crippled by Black Jew. Then, the soil was also crippled, Heiju, the filial son. Naruto has many other names, such as the Legend of the Eyes or the story of a dutiful son Heiju save his mother. As the final boss Dadamu Huai's will to distract, he flickered Indra and Indra reincarnation not lightly, in order to save his mother and filial piety to the world. However, it is better to be an idiot with soil. The protagonist often arrives at the last minute, and the guy who brought the soil, stepped on the spot, and was almost eliminated. Their opponent is the upgraded version of Zantu Kai, Mad Dai. Mad Dai, like Kai and later Lee, had no talent for ninjutsu and illusion, and devoted himself to physical skills. He was a ruthless person who had opened the door to death, but he treated himself very kindly. It's just an ordinary physical attack. Konoha Whirlwind. Mad Dai kicked the sugar that was stuck in his throat and kicked him away. Kakashi defeated two of his opponents. With his outstanding skill and extraordinary strength, he defeated Mad Dai's two teammates, eliminated. Only Mad Dai was left. He was eliminated as Kakashi's opponent without starting 8. The Kakashi team wins. Shame. Kakashi shook his head. Hole. Do you want to fight? Bring the soil up and said loudly, I just made a mistake. Shame. Hole Kakashi. Chapter 39. Advance to the third round. With the end of the first round of team battles, the 80 teams that originally participated have shrunk by half, and once again, the last 20 teams will be determined, and they will enter the third exam. The Chinji activity started and said, our opponent for the next test is Takumi Shinobu, is there any information? Hong said, I heard from my father that Takumi Ninja Village is a village that is good at making and using ninjas. The ninjas of various countries are generally supplied by them. Although it is a small village, it is very rich. Ninja tools like kunai and shuriken can be made in any village. But if you can create a powerful ninja that can use chakras to enhance your attacks, you need special skills. Such techniques are not available in every village. And the Craftsman Ninja Village has this kind of technology. They make a fortune by making ninjas for each ninja village, and rely on ninjas to protect the villages. Although small, they are rich. Every ninja village has good relations with them, and there will be no situation like the Uzushio Ninja Village of the Uzumaki clan. After all, the sealing technique of the Uzumaki clan is really daunting. In addition, these guys are violent, just like the gunpowder keg, they may explode someday, so in a certain war, Uzumaki Ninja Village was attacked by a group. However, Konoha, who was too far away, had no time to rescue. In the end, Uzumaki Ninja Village was destroyed, and the Uzumaki family was scattered all over the world. And the Craftsman Ninja Village is a human, long-sleeved good dance, relying on technology to mix in the big ninja villages is like a fish in the water. After all, even if they can make terrible ninjas, their village has no people who can use these powerful ninjas. What bad thoughts can Takumi Shinobu? Am I right? Gara. MMP, a lot of bad thoughts when kidnapping me. It's only the Takumi Ninja Village, it's not worth mentioning. Shook his head, Shinzuki didn't pay attention to this group of people. In fact, there are not many people in Shao Ninja Village that need attention, and the ones who really need attention are their own people. Okay, let's go, the exam begins. This time let them be as good as Uncle Asma. Good, go. Stepping into the competition arena, the three of them formed a formation again. The opposite Takumi Shinobu was just like them, 2 men, 1 woman, 1 man with 1 eye, and 1 slug. As for the girl, her colorful hair was a bad girl. Hong said in a low voice, I heard that their opponent was easily eliminated by them with a ninja, so be careful. I know, this time I will attack. Okay, so, start. With an order from the referee, Kioske rushed out, and the bad girl sneered, is it so simple? Is Konoha's Shinobu a fool? Don't underestimate our Takumi Shinobu. Advertisement as a ninja of the Takumi Ninja Village, using ninjas is a compulsory course for them. The bad girl said, a large amount of steel wire was shot from the black glove in her hand, which instantly spread over the entire arena, forming a steel wire net, blocking the road ahead of Shinzuki. Kioske clamped the shuriken in his hand and threw it out. The shuriken cut the steel wire in front of him. At this time, the eyes around the bad girl moved, she pushed her glasses, a shuriken of equal height appeared in her hand, and he threw it out. Cut. Kioske jumped away, avoiding the shuriken. Very good. The bad girl made a fist and waved her arm back. The shuriken in the air suddenly changed her body and flew towards the back of Kioske. Not good. Just when the referee wanted to do something, he saw Kioske in the air turned into a stake. Stand-in surgery. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. The slug held a sledgehammer and smashed it down at Kioske, who appeared from the side. Boom. Kioske turned around and avoided, and said, "Control, long-range attacks, melee combat, so that's it, is the division of labor clear?" "So, Asma, Huo Dian. Okay, fire escape the art of fire." Jet flames. 2 pillars of fire flew, and the slug held a hammer in one hand and output a shield in the other to block the attack. Hot. The shield was red from the fire, and the slug threw away the shield in his hand and blew his hands. "It's not over yet. Red, understood? Illusory art Naraku seeing art." Hong seized the opportunity to launch the illusion, and the slug who hadn't paid attention was recruited. The bad girl and the eye boy would help him dispel the illusion. How could Shinzuki and Asma give them this opportunity? Advertisement without the protection of slugs. Shinjia seemed to be in no one's realm, and instantly came to the bad girl, opened her mouth. A snake rushed out, and the snake opened her mouth wide at the girl. Ah! With high decibel screams, after the startled screams, the bad girl was scared to death. At the same time, the eye boy who was good at long-range combat was taken down by Asma, who was good at long-range combat. Slowly swallowing the snake into his abdomen. This scene made Hong feel uncomfortable. He said, "Kyosuke, don't use this technique in front of me in the future. It's disgusting." Is it so despised? You guys' evil taste is really. Asma patted him on the shoulder, and as the referee announced their victory, they successfully advanced to the third round of the exam. After leaving the examination room, Yuri Zhenheng was already waiting for them at the door and nodded and said, "You are doing very well. The next exam will be half a month later. After 60 people from 20 teams break up, each will play 2 round, which means that the last 15 people can become Zhang Ren. Zongren exams have a high elimination rate, and Zongren who can be promoted from this kind of exams can be promoted to Shangren in the future. Although harsh, it can screen out the outstanding talents in the village. After an exam, you can see who is worth training and who needs to be improved. After half a month? Is this half a month too long? Kioske thinks that he can complete the exam now, without so much trouble. Yuri Zhenheng glanced at him and said, "You weren't injured, but someone else was injured. This time is for the wounded to recover. You should treat it as a holiday, and you don't have to perform tasks anyway." "Teacher Zhenheng, I want special training." Hong raised his hand and said. "Can?" Asma pondered for a while and said, "Teacher Zhenheng, please guide me too. Dad and eldest brother are too busy to have time. Shinzuki, are you coming?" The old man in his family is busy all day long and has little time to accompany him. When he was a child, his elder brother could take him with him. Now his elder brother is getting busy and has no time, so he can only ask Mr. Zhenheng for help. Shinzuki said, "I'll leave it alone. I want to develop my blood succession boundary, and there is not much guidance that Teacher Zhenheng can give me. For the development of ninjutsu, it's better to go to Oshimaru. Yuri Zhenheng's strength is good, but he is more good at illusion." Yuri Zhenheng also understood this, and said, "I know, you go." Chapter 40, Special Training. "Oh, want me to train you? With your strength, you should be able to win without encountering Kakashi and Sha Ren." Dashimaru's unique hoarse voice sounded, and he fiddled with the things on the operating table without looking back. Kioske behind him said, "Red and Asma have both gone for special training. If I don't go there, it always feels weird. Oshimaru-sensei, do you have any particularly powerful ninjutsu? You can kill the other side's ninjutsu with just one click? Surgery? Are you killed in one blow? Yes, there's a ninjutsu that goes to the end. Do you want to learn it?" No, I don't want to die yet, I just want to learn great." "If that's the case, then go and practice the change of chakra's form. With your talent, it's okay to get in touch now." Form changes. Yes, the shape of chakra has changed. Dashiwan put down the experimental product in his hand and began to instruct his disciples. Chakra changes in nature and form are both ways to strengthen ninjutsu. The change of nature is the use of the escape method with 5 attributes of wind, fire, water, thunder and earth. The combination of the 2 will lead to the limit of blood succession, the 3 are the blood succession elimination, and the 7 are the most advanced blood succession snare. The change in form allows chakra to have the form of ninjutsu, allowing the user to control the power and attack range of the technique, and the change in form can make the technique more unique. The spiral pill created by Watergate is the ultimate form of change, but you can easily control the flame, so what you need to learn is the form change of the wind attribute chakra. Dashiwan said, What should I do with this?" Kioske played with the flame in the palm of his hand and didn't understand it. He could turn himself into a flame, and he could control the flame to the point of abnormality, but if he let him control the wind attribute chakra, he would have nowhere to start. Of course. Special training. Uncle Snake's eyes flashed strangely. Snake. Uncle Snake. Shinjia shivered JPG. Advertisement Konoha Training Ground. The wind attribute chakra has the characteristic of cutting. If you learn the shape change, it can be attached to the weapon to make the weapon sharper. Dashimaru took out a handful of kunai, attached the wind attribute chakra to it, and waved it on the ground. Before it got close to the ground, a deep ditch appeared. If there is no pupil technique like round eyes or white eyes, only perceptual ninjas can perceive it, which is a kind of yin person's way. Not all chakras can be seen. Thunder escape, fire escape, water escape, etc. all have special forms of expression, and the wind attribute chakra is different. The wind has no color and shape, it is just a mass of air, invisible and intangible, but you can perceive that most of the wind is invisible. Not everyone has the Uchiha clan's riding wheel eyes and the Hyuga clan's white eyes to see chakra. Sensing ninjas are also in the minority after all. But I don't know how to develop Feng chakra. I can come casually if I have the fire attribute. A ball of flame rose from the palm of his hand, and the flame turned into a fiery snake, surrounded by him, with a mouth and another snake. Looking at Kiyomizu's repeated Matryoshka behavior, Dashimaru said, "You can control the fire attribute chakras, then the wind attribute should also be controlled, but you are not very skilled. You need to learn to use the wind attribute chakras in your body instead of subconsciously. You can use Huo Dun, well, before the Zhongren exam, you can only use Feng Dun, and Huo Dun is not allowed. No, unless it is a critical juncture, you are not allowed to use Huo Dun in the Zhongren exam. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Oshimaru restricts Kiyomizu in this way so that he can learn to use the wind and prevent him from using only flames. As a ninja, it is difficult to eat fresh all over the sky, and not everyone can do it. And with Shinsuke's qualifications, it's a certainty to become a shinobu in the future. It's not a big deal now to suffer a bit, it's better than to die on the battlefield because of poor learning skills in the future. Yes. Listening to Dashimaru's request, Shinji nodded, put out the flame in his hand, and started to learn Feng Yun instead. Perceive the wind attribute chakra in the body, and then guide it out, just like you usually use ninjutsu. You first learn to cut the leaves. Let Kioske hold a leaf with his hands, so that he can freely switch between the two chakras. Yes. But this is still too slow, the technique of multiple shadow clones. Bang 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 bang. 40 shadow clones appeared next to each other, each with a leaf in their hands. Shinzuki said, "Everyone, in one afternoon, I have to cut the leaves on my hands." Oh. The shadow avatars responded and began to work hard. Advertisement, using the shadow clone. This is a good way. Oshimaru nodded when he saw it. Actually, there are not many places where this disciple needs guidance, which makes him, the teacher, feel that there is no sense of existence. Am I going to accept another disciple? Thinking this way, watching the efforts of Kioske, Dashimaru settled down and accepted another female disciple. Let's see if there are any good seedlings in this year's graduates. Kioske and his shadow avatars worked hard, constantly injecting wind escape chakras into leaves. With the passage of time, a large number of shadow avatars disappeared due to lack of chakras. Experience followed, and his use of Feng Yun chakra became more handy. Success. One shadow avatar raised his hand, the leaves in his hand split into two, laughing, and then he suddenly disappeared. The remaining shadow avatars in the main body all received the experience, and one after another cut the leaves in their hands. While looking at the research notes, Dashimaru looked at it and said, "This is just the beginning. You have to remember this feeling and then continue." "It is good." Shinji nodded and continued to practice. Oshimaru said on the side, "You have to remember this feeling, and you can do it until you want to do it. There is not so much time on the battlefield for you to gather chakras, can you understand?" To understanding, the battlefield is cruel, and the enemy can't give you time to make big moves, so you must turn these into flat A. Kaisuke-kun, your physique is very suitable for action on the battlefield. Ordinary attacks will not work for you at all, but don't take it lightly. The dead genius is not a genius. Oshimaru has seen too many geniuses on the battlefield. The halberd fell into the sand and the death of Wangshen was regrettable. He didn't want his disciple to end up with the rope tree. Shinzuki said, "I know, I don't want to die yet. It's a good thing to have a desire to survive, Kioske-san. Remember a truth, save your life on the battlefield before talking about other things." This is the experience he has accumulated for so long. If he can't survive, completing the task is all nonsense. I understand. Chapter 41. Jiraiya's teaching cultivation is still going on, but it is Shinji that he is practicing alone. After Oshimaru has given some guidance, he puts into the laboratory again, as if there is something particularly attractive in it. Oh, it is indeed very attractive to Osha. Pill. Wind escaped the art of wind cutting. An invisible wind blade flew out of his hand after Shinji finished the seal, and the wind blade instantly cut a small tree with a thick bowl. The cut was neat and smooth, and the tree walked without any pain. "Why do you attach Feng Yun chakra to your weapon?" "I have no idea at all." Rubbing his hair, Kiyomizu sat down on the green grass. He has tried to attach the chakra to Kumamoto. If you don't pay attention, the wind-run chakra will dissipate. It is very troublesome to compress it and keep it in a shape. Dashawan is in the laboratory, and it is estimated that it will not come out for several days. This guy's daily life is like this. He eats and drinks entirely on the grain pills. Although the taste is bitter, Dashawan is a big deal. This bitterness is not a big deal. The study. Shinji is now in free range mode, but this is also good. No, I have to find someone to help. At this time, a wretched man appeared in his mind. Bah, crossed out, it was a tall figure. Konoha is a little bit yellow, and Jiraiya, haunted in Konoha's major kabukachos, izakayas, hot springs, and places with many young ladies. Shinzuki successfully saw Jiraiya on the roof of his house. Why is it on the top of your own building? Because his house is a 3-story building. If you want to see it, you can easily see some scenes in the open-air hot spring, but people with bad eyes cannot see the beautiful scenery in the misty mist. But who is it? 3 generations of Naruto's personal disciple, Konoha Sannin. Is it a person who has gained a reputation? That pair of tricks has been tempered, comparable to the golden eyes of Brother Monkey. The mist is nothing at all. So, Lord Jiraiya, did you come to the top of my house to peep? Of course. Cough. No, he coughed and said, "This is the roof of your house?" Of course. Shinji nodded. How can it be repaired? Your kid has such a good place. Kid, I'm here as a guest at your house, and pour me a cup of tea. Hey, what is your tone of voice? If you are really here as a guest, don't just stay on the roof, and I don't believe you when you say you are here as a guest. You look at my sincere eyes, I'm really here as a guest. Yes, yes, I believe, what is your perfunctory tone? You look at my eyes and speak. Advertisement, don't look away. Ji Lai was also hit hard, and hurriedly changed the subject, saying, how about the results of the Jiangnan exam? It's okay, it's in the third round, and now it's special training. When I heard the special training, Ji Lai also said, then what are you running home? Give me a good training, didn't that fellow Oshimaru teach you? Teached, I won't, then ask him, he's not in now. Then you go for special training, didn't Dashawan teach you? Teached, I won't. Then go, enough, I don't want to play Matryoshka anymore. Lord Jilaya, please help me with special training. Jilai also curled his lips. No, I'm going to collect materials. I'm going to write a novel that I am good at. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Is the Book of God's Love in Heaven coming online? In the future, Konoha minor Kakashi's novel that I can't put it down. I heard that my hand speed will speed up. Master Jilaya, paid. Huh? A gleam of light flashed in Jilai's eyes, and he said, if you become the big sister last time, it's not impossible, hee. Chingjia. It feels so unworthy, betraying things like you. Seduction, isn't it a catch? As a human being, is this really good? Hey, not bad. You really are a genius. Jilai also clutched his nose, and said boldly. If you have any questions, just ask the fairy. I know everything about the fairy. Is such that, Kioske asked the question that he didn't know how to gather the wind into an edge, and kept the length unchanged, and he thought about it, and said, it's nothing more than you can't control your wind escape chakra. That's it, to put it bluntly, you are still lacking in controlling chakra. Then what method should I use? Chingjia asked. Advertisement. There is no shortcut in this regard. Diligence can make up for your weakness. Don't you know how to do it? Then use it to practice. Well, we still have to work hard. I understand, thank you Master Jilaya, I will go to practice first. After speaking, he jumped out of the roof of his house and ran towards the training ground. Really, don't even invite me to drink a cup of tea. Hey, forget it. Hey, this young lady has a really good figure. Oh, shook it. After Jilai also ordered, Shinzuki realized that his chakra control was insufficient, so he needed to work hard in this regard. Separate the clones and practice hard, life is so simple and boring. A week later, successful, Kioske yelled happily, and a layer of windrun chakra was attached to the kuma in his hand, forming a wind blade about half a meter long on kuma. When he came to a tree, he waved kunai 3 times and 5 divided 2, leaving his mark on a tree. It's okay, the consumption of chakra is not serious, the current physical condition can be maintained for about an hour and a half. Disperse the suffering wind blade and put it away. A few days later, it will be the final round of the Jiangnan exam. He has to prepare well. If he is exhausted these days, he should take a good rest. First go to Yilei Ramen for a meal, and then go home to take a bath and sleep beautifully. Let's just spend the past few days. As for Hong and Asma, they are still working hard in cultivation. They don't want to be separated by Kiyomizu, they are teammates in a small team. Judging from the performance of the team battle, this guy's strength is far from being used, which makes Asma and Hong feel the pressure. After all, being thrown away by their companions, watching his back move forward is not a comfortable thing. Yuhi Mahone looked at the two seriously cultivating subordinates and nodded. Knowing their unwillingness, he attacked and said, if you don't want to be distanced by Kioske, then you will spare your life to practice. There will be another week. At the end of the Jiangnan exam, show me your perseverance and consciousness. Yes. Understood. The two resisted the attack from Yuri Zhenheng, and improved their strength by fighting against Yuri Zhenheng. This is the way they choose to improve their strength. Chapter 42. What kind of guy do you like? The final Chunin test begins. Konoha's gate to the battlefield. Kioske looked at his two teammates and asked, I'm going. What are you two doing these days? How did it happen? Hong and Asma had many bruises on their bodies, and both of them were bandaged. Asma scratched her nose and said, what do you know, scars are a man's medal. Shinzuki said silently, but it's not red. Hong must be a beautiful woman in the future. If there are scars on her body now, it will not look good in the future. There is no girl who doesn't love beauty. She suddenly became worried, and Asma patted her chest and said, even if she becomes ugly after being red, I won't hate her. Ah, you are dead. You will become an ugly monster. It was Red's furious blow that greeted Asma. So, do you know why you can't chase Hong? Kioske glanced at the Red back and said with a smile. Girls are shy. I must be too handsome. Red is shy and dare not confess. No, your Sarutobi clan has strong hair, and the word Heshwai is basically not in touch. Looking at Asma's very sophisticated face, Kioske did not say anything, but said, you will be single for a lifetime like this. It is a miracle that the Red Society will be chased by this guy in the future. Is it because Red is getting older and looking for a mature and reliable one? As a result, when I looked at the peers, Asma had a big beard face, very mature and reliable, so I chose him. That Asma is too miserable. No, it's impossible. I'm so handsome, it's impossible to be single. You look at my face, and you talk again. Hole. Don't think that you can do whatever you want if you are handsome. Sorry, you can really do whatever you want to be handsome. Kioske laughed and stepped into Konoha's door to the battlefield. There were already a lot of people sitting in the audience on the battlefield. In addition to the contestants, some Shangren instructors also came here. Advertisement Yuri Zhenhong was already waiting for them inside. The 3 generations of Naruto Sarutobi appeared, and he was also followed by Oshimaru and Jiraiya, with 2 apprentices, and he walked with wind. With their appearance, the noisy battlefield quieted down, and a group of shinobu looked at them. This is Konoha's highest combat power. If you kill them, Konoha will be vulnerable. Of course, this is just thinking about it. Sarutobi Hizen coughed and said, then the final round of examinations will begin, and the remaining 15 people will have the qualifications to be promoted to Jongnin. Let's not say much, let's get started. A figure fell and said, Hokage-sama, leave it to me now. Sorry to bother you. Sarutobi Hizen took Oshimaru and 2 of them sat in the best place in the audience. Jilai smiled and said, Oshiwan, I didn't think you would come here when you squat at home. Are you a disciple who cares about yourself? Oshimaru said, it's just to see the results of his practice. By the way, you ran to do the experiment. You disciple ran to me for help. Really, you should do your teacher's responsibility anyway. He told me about this, he used a technique in exchange. It's a bargain. Jiraiya, what technique does he use? Shinzuki told him. He asked what ninjutsu, but Shinzuki was vague. Did not say, he wanted to ask what kind of technique can be exchanged for guidance from Jiraiya. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Jiraiya's face became stiff, and he coughed. It's a great technique, Dashawan. I have to say, you disciple is a genius. Of course he is a genius. With his strength plus the blood succession limit, it is estimated that few people can beat him. I told him not to use that special blood succession boundary as a last resort. He researched. Although he could not find out the mystery of the Shinzuki family, he can draw one thing. It is not a special escape technique, it is a special physique. The special physique that turns a person into a flame is extremely rare. What do you limit his strength to do? It just made him grow faster, Dashimaru said lightly. Listening to the 2 disciples chatting with each other, Sarutobi Hizen smiled and said, then wait and see. The referee below has already started the rules. Everyone in this battle will experience 2 battles. The 2 sides of the battle are randomly selected. In addition, this battle cannot kill or cause disability. Violators will be deprived of their qualifications for lifelong examinations. Above, then, the 2 parties involved in the first round of battle are. The names of all contestants began to appear on the big screen hanging on the wall, randomly selected. Finally stopped. Asakawa Kioske vs Yakura, advertisement. That's true, is this little guy in the first round? Jilai also showed an expression of watching the show. Well, it's the blood succession boundary of Cheyenne Village, and what is the difference between Konoha's blood succession boundary and our Konoha? Is showdown? This is a very dangerous blood inheritance boundary, and Cheyenne Village is actually willing to let her appear? Dashiwan said. The blood succession boundary ninjas are treasures in the major ninja villages. After they grow up, not to mention the shadow level powerhouses, as long as they don't stretch, they are generally elite ninjas, but they are put in other villages if they don't grow up. A very dangerous thing. Although the Kingdom of Wind and the Kingdom of Fire are allies, the 2 big ninja villages also have hatred and will be wary of each other. In this way, the blood inherited bound ninja will be sent to the village. If something goes wrong and it is not handled properly, there will be war. Let's take a look first. Unexpectedly, it was me in the first game. What kind of luck is this? He didn't want the first show or something. Kakashi had to go anyway. After all, in the last Ninja World War, his father shook the blood of Cheyenne Village as a river, shivering. Come on, Kioske, yes, come on, Hong and Asma cheered him up, and Yuri Zhenhong said, be careful, the enemy is the blood heir ninja from Cheyenne Village, and it's not that easy to deal with. I see. Kioske stepped on the railing and jumped down and landed steadily on the ring below. Little Lolita Yekang walked over with a serious face. She was a beauty embryo, and she must be a big beauty in the future. It's a pity that she was killed in the end. After the referee determined the identities of the 2, he said, then, the first game of the 3rd round of the ninja test, Kioske Asakawa vs Yakura, officially begins. After speaking, he jumped out of the ring to make room for them. Come on, Konoha's ninja. Little Lori Yekang takes this battle very seriously. She wants to play the style of Cheyenne Village, play the style of the female ninja in Sandyuki Village. Well, before the war, I have a question for you. What? Yekang looked at him puzzled. What kind of guy do you like? As soon as these words came out, the whole hall was quiet. Chapter 43. Dating competition. Oh, this kid is really talented. The first to speak out was that Jiraiya, who is not too big to watch the excitement, said with a smile. Oshimaru, this kid should be my apprentice. Dashimaru said, I will not let him contact you in the future. You idiot, Jiraiya has taken Mr. Kioske to the ground. Sarutobi Hijan feels a headache, and now the child is too precocious, right? What is this idiot Kioske doing? Asma asked puzzledly, didn't he go to fight? Although Sane's female ninja is really pretty. None of you boys is a good thing, Hongju said with a curled lips. Asma felt that she should clarify for herself, and hurriedly said, Red, I am not like a person like Shinzuki. Humph. Shiri was really red. Okay, so bold, as expected of Kioske, I easily did what I couldn't do. Taito squeezed his hand, did I confess to Lin after becoming Zangren? Kakashi looked at him like a fool. Ha ha ha, what's going on with Konoha's Chunin? Is he here to fall in love? Yeah, or a kid. Interesting, I'm very curious about how that girl should answer. Hey, what kind of guy do you like? It can be said that Cheyenne Village is angry, especially Yi Kang's teammate, who is an inch-headed boy. Hey, Konoha's Shinobu, you don't want to beat us Yi Kang's idea. You be asterisk 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 D. Believe it or not, I killed him, you. That's it, don't think you can mess around if you are handsome. Yi Kang is not such a superficial girl. Referee, can you change opponents? Let me go, I want to kill this B asterisk 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 D. The referee squeezed his eyebrows, but watching Sarutobi Hizen smiled at the excitement, he didn't say anything, just let Cheyenne Village not mess around. After listening to Qingji's question, Yi Kang's beautiful little face blushed, and his serious expression suddenly broke down, a little flustered, and then calmed down and said, anyway, it's not your type. I hate you the most. Boy, really? That's really a pity, so cute, you will cry with a punch, right? Yi Kang. Pooh, scum. Just now, I asked what kind of guy the first liked, and I'm going to hit me in a blink of an eye. Everyone. Didn't you just ask what kind of guy they like? Why did you change your face? Advertisement. He couldn't keep up with Qingji's brain circuit, but Yi Kang also heard that Qingjia was looking for her to be happy. Qingjia turned back and avoided, Yi Kang followed, and his delicate little fist hit his face, seeming to want to smash his face. He opened his hand, grabbed Yi Kang's arm, and pulled it to his side, putting a knee on her belly, completely devoid of pity and cherishment. Enduring the pain, Yi Kang stepped back and said, your question just now just wanted to make me angry, right? It's a good calculation. She could see that the problem was just the other party's strategy, so that she could be dazzled by anger and a flaw appeared. Do not. Kioske smiled, with a sincere tone, I really want to ask what kind of guy you like. This person's heart is so dirty. I won't fall twice in a pit, but if you Konoha ninja can beat me and become Jongnin, it's not impossible to date you. Ah. Go on a date with me, Yi Kongjong. Cheyenne Village cried out painfully. Yes, yes. What do you like about Konoha's little white face? Isn't he just a little more handsome? There is nothing else to do. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. No, Yekang-chan will never lose to Konoha's little white face. Come on, Yekang-chan. My good brother Asma saw Cheyenne Village and started cheering on Yi Kang. He felt that he couldn't lose Qingji's face. He glanced at Jidu not far away and shouted. Kaisuke, beat her. You are dating. I've covered the consumption. That's right. The asthma for your dates is already covered. Come on, Shinzuki. Asthma. Sarutobi recut. Don't let this brat go home and discuss with his wife about having 3 children. When you grow up, I'll talk about it. I'm not interested in a little girl like you with no chest and butt. Kioske said with a dull expression, I like mature big sisters, so let's, 10 years later, if you are still alive, come to Konoha, let's go on a date. As soon as this remark came out, even the corners of Da Xuan's mouth twitched. Ji Lai's eyes widened suddenly. This son's deep intentions and wide layout can be called the best in the world. If I had this style back then, I wouldn't have been married yet. However, he is really a little pervert. He has no ability now. Will he wait until 10 years later? His tilde Sarutobi Risen looked at Oshimaru and asked, is this really your apprentice? Isn't it Jiraiya's sure? Advertisement, I do not know. For a moment, Dashimaru felt that this disciple was not his own. Come on, don't I'm dead then, you are dead, as a ninja, he might die someday, so maybe this guy will die tomorrow. Yi Kang was also a violent temper, and snorted, I will surely be admired then. She will definitely become a mature big sister in the future, and now, she just hasn't reached the growth stage yet, I am looking forward. Kioske smiled. Yi Kang sneered, let me see if you can beat me. Fire escaped the art of phoenix fire. Fireballs flew out of Yi Kang's mouth, blocking the path in front of Qingjia. Qingsuke's palms joined together, wind done, gale palm. The violent wind blows the fireball. Yi Kang is already holding Kuwu to attack, and his slender figure shows extremely fast speed, and he comes to Kioske in a blink of an eye. Ding ding ding. Kuamu collided with each other. Shinzuki saw the tricks and dismantles with ease, did not panic at all, and steadily resisted the attack from Yi Kang. Yi Kang gritted his teeth, speeding up the offensive, and Shinzuki gradually showed his decay, revealing a flaw. Seizing the opportunity, Kuwu immediately pierced Qingji's throat, but saw him suddenly tilt his head, avoiding the attack dangerously and dangerously. Yi Kang wanted to take advantage of the opportunity to chase, but his arm was suddenly attacked. Qingjia slapped her arm with a palm, causing Kuwu to get rid of Yi Kang's hand. The other fist, which had been waiting for a long time, slammed into force. Boom! Hit the target with one punch. Yi Kang flew out, turned around in the air, fell steadily, and covered his stomach, where it hurt to death. It should feel swollen. Said, you guy, have been pretending to be a pig and eating a tiger? No, I just deliberately sold a flaw to you. Let me attack now. Wind escape wind cut technique. Shinzuki Kaiji attacked, flew out a wind blade, and attacked Yi Kang. The art of wind escaping wind return, chapter 44, Ju Dun. The technique of Fengdang wind return is to use chakra to return the Fengdang on the opposite side of Fengdang to let the enemy have a taste of his own technique. This trick has advantages and disadvantages. If the strength is not as good as the opponent's strength, it is easy to cocoon and bind himself, and instead of blocking the opponent's wind and escape, he will be killed. Those who are stronger than the other party will generally not use this trick, and the other party does not need to use this trick if the fastest result is achieved. Some chicken ribs. However, the strength is not the same. The wind return technique can play a miraculous effect. Kiyasuke's wind blade was bounced back by the wind return technique, and he hurriedly avoided, looking at the wind blade left on the wall and said, It's really dangerous, I was almost killed, it's terrible, terrible. A blue vein appeared on Yi Kang's forehead, this man is so annoying. With a sneer, are you only hiding? It's not enough to want to date me with this level of strength. Really? You still have to show some real skills, Shulker Snake Man. With a wave of his hand, the 4 big snakes rushed out from the cuffs and rushed towards Yi Kang. Wind escaped the art of wind cutting. With this move, Yi Kang would also do the same, and the speed of the seal was much faster than Xingjie. The 4 big snakes summoned by the Shark Shadow Snake Hand were cut into several sections, and the dead could not die again. It's violent. With a murmur, Kioske knew that he couldn't play anymore, his legs exerted strength, and the whole person rushed out. Kunai rolled his fingers around, held tightly in his hand, aimed at Yi Kang, and stabbed. Ding! Yi Kang blocked it, but he was struggling. This power had more than doubled, which means that this guy had just been playing. Thinking of this, he became angry, and hit back vigorously. Seeing Yi Kang's swift offensive, Xingjie did not evade his edge. The physique between people cannot be generalized. Yi Kang, the little girl's physical fitness is not as good as her own, and she will lose in the end. The two played back and forth. Yi Kang knew that his physical strength was not as good as Shinsuke's and decided to break his strength with skill, but in the next second, he was beaten out by kunai. Then he suffered another kick in his stomach and flew up into the air. The hidden shadow has more snake hands. This time a larger and larger snake flew out of the cuff and bit towards Yi Kang in the air. Seeing the big snake rushing forward, Yi Kang's eyes were fierce, and a fireball appeared beside him. The moment the big snake touched the fireball, his sturdy body shrank and the water in the body was evaporated, like a dry corpse in the desert. As soon as this move came out, everyone in the room calmed down. This is the blood succession boundary of Cheyenne Village, burning done. Advertisement, what a terrible blood succession boundary. So, what will Konoha's kid do? Sarutobi Hijon looked at Shiodun and smoked a cigarette, and said, Oshimaru, how likely is it that this kid, Kioske, will win? Without his special physique, there is no possibility of winning, but if you use it, he will win. Oshimaru said calmly. Then wait and see. Dad, can Kioske win? Hong asked her dad worriedly, and Asma looked over it, and Yuri Zhenhong said, I believe Shinsuke's strength. His strength is at the top among you at the same time, and this exam is not allowed to kill people. Even if you can't win, there will be no life-threatening, don't worry. After comforting her daughter, Yuri Zhenhong stared at the serious Kioske below. Zhao Dun. Looking at the fireball floating around Yi Kang, this girl will be a juicing girl in the future. She has already revealed her clues now. She smiled and said, well, this blood inheritance limit is really dangerous. Seeing the snake on the ground, he became vigilant. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Give up, in front of Zhao Dun, there is only the end of being evaporated. If I use it, I can't stop it, Yi Kang reminded. Really, it's so terrible, so terrible. Are all the blood ninjas in Cheyenne Village monsters? This face looks so cheap. Kioske put a smile away and said solemnly, the blood is just a ninja, and we Konoha are not without it, and it is useless for me to burn. He rushed over without any intention of avoiding it. Yi Kang didn't expect this guy to rush over in desperation, and snorted coldly, I don't care if something goes wrong. Zhao Dun oversteam kill. The scorching fireball flew and hit Shinsuke directly, but it didn't evaporate into a mummified situation as usual. This guy didn't have a shit, but approached quickly, and the speed was incredible. At this time, Yi Kang was still in a state of shock. Why did this guy get hit by his own skills, and nothing happened? I obviously got the seal. When he reacted, Kioske had already come, and it was too late to resist. Kuwu pointed directly to his throat, and the sharp edge made the smooth skin appear a layer of goosebumps. Advertisement, you lose. Why are you okay? She asked. Boys always have 1 or 2 little secrets. If you are still alive, remember to come to me for a date 10 years later. He was okay because he had completely elementalized his body. Otherwise, the water in his body would have been completely evaporated and turned into a mummy. The elementalized body had no water at all, it was all flames. Humph, wait until you beat the next opponent. Snorted and raised his hand to the referee. The referee nodded and shouted, winner, Kioske Asakawa. Kioske jumped onto his seat and said to Asma, watch well and learn. This is the right way to chase girls. Asma said silently, I have never heard of chasing a girl and beating a girl, you mean it's red? He just saw that Shinsuke's attack on Yi Kang was very painful, and he didn't know what Lianxiangxiyu was. If he learns, he can be single for a lifetime. Huh? Licking the dog. He smiled contemptuously at Asma's behavior, being inadequate and conspiring. Hong said, the two of them are rivals. It's normal to start harder. However, Xingjie, why do you want her to date you 10 years from now? Of course it is greedy for her body. But this is definitely not something to say, saying, just kidding, maybe she will die in the mission 10 years later, how could she come to Konoha, and Konoha is not a ninja, so she can do whatever she wants, you can come in. Yuri Zhenhong. Don't make this kind of joke in the future. It's not that all female ninjas are like the little girl Yi Kang. If it's another girl, maybe it's coming over, right? Yi Kang's personality is good, but it's a pity that he died. Shaking his head, Kioske said, I see, Mr. Zhenhong, this time it's just a joke, and she is also very cute. He is not Lolicon, he is Yu Jiakong, just so, Yi Kang poked his XP very much in the future. That's it, Chapter 45. Opponent Kakashi. After a long period of time, Kioske was resting. As for other ninjas, there were few intractable battles, and the outcome was often decided very quickly. For example, I was preparing to show off today because Lin smiled at him, her soul flew away, and Kai kicked it over. Asma confronted a ninja from Urenken and won easily. In Hong and Lin, the two girls were of equal strength, but because of Hong's illusion, Lin fell out of favor and lost the game. Soon, entering the final round, Hikiki Kakashi vs Kioske Asakawa. Everyone was stunned for a moment. This time it was really interesting. Kakashi is Konoha's genius ninja, the son of Konoha's white teeth. He looks young, but he has actually been for several years. Because he has to take care of his teammates, he has to take the exam. The first round of his personal battle killed the opponent in seconds, and the combat power cannot be said to be weak. And this guy Kioske couldn't tell what was brilliant. He didn't show up, but he defeated Zhou Dunyi Kang. It was not easy to deal with. It's worth seeing now, Jilai also said with a smile. Indeed, Shumao's son is also a genius. It's a pity, alas. Sarutobi sighed, saying that Hagi's death was a great loss for the village. Oshimaru said, now that this is meaningless, there is no need to go on. Kakashi is a manufacturable, and it is very difficult for Kioske to win against him. Let's take a look. Shinzuki, beat me up with Kakashi. Tai-Tu yelled. One eye was covered by Lin with gauze. Kei just kicked it out. Take soil, we are also Kakashi's teammates anyway. Lin smiled helplessly. Dai-Tu hummed. I don't care, I have a better relationship with Shinzuki, and I've seen Kakashi upset for a long time. Let Shinzuki deal with him. You. The following Kakashi and Kioske stood face to face. Kakashi said, I wanted to fight you a long time ago, now I finally have a chance. Kioske raised his eyebrows and said, I don't want to fight with you, it is too troublesome to fight with you. Kakashi, who is not short of blue, is quite troublesome to deal with. However, today there must be a victory or defeat. Kakashi said, that's what I said, then, start. Advertisement. As soon as the referee's voice fell, Kakashi attacked with lightning speed and punched him. Shinzuki was also unambiguous, and punched up, bang bang bang. The two confronted with physical skills. Whether it was strength, speed or skill, they were indistinguishable from each other. They were injured, and they all took a few steps back and opened the distance. Bang! Kakashi has a shadow avatar beside him, transform. The shadow clone turned into a huge shuriken of equal height, grabbed the shuriken, and threw it at Kioske. The shuriken shadow clone technique. Kakashi was also able to use this technique. In an instant, the giant shuriken blocked Kiosuke's path. Wind escaped the art of wind cutting. The wind blade flew out, smashing several shurikens, and a vacancy appeared, and Kioske got into it. Behind, the shuriken suddenly changed back to Kakashi, throwing kunai. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Feeling the danger coming from behind, Shinzuki immediately turned around, closing his palms together, and the wind blows, and life will not blow away. Kakashi's body arrived and directly strangled his neck with his arm. A pain in his stomach, Shinzuki attacked him with his elbow, broke free of Kakashi, and began to counterattack. Kioske shoveled over, clamped Kakashi's two legs with his legs, twisted in front of him. Kakashi had no choice but to kneel down. He got up immediately and wanted to give Kakashi a little bit, but he didn't realize it. He had been prepared, broke away from the restraints, and attacked Shinzuki. Shulking snake hand. The serpent appeared, missed the target, and was cut off his head. Kakashi drew his knife. This opponent was not so easy to deal with. He had his father's saber in his hand. He was extremely sharp and didn't know how many lives it took. Kioske took out kunai, attached Fengdun chakra to it, forming a wind blade, and said, come on. Kakashi. Let me see the swordsmanship of the Hagi family. Kakashi is not nonsense. The two fought hand to hand. Kakashi used the sword skills of the Hagi family to easily suppress the half-hearted Kioske. In terms of swordsmanship, Shinzuki is far inferior to him. He could only use his body's reaction to catch the attack. Knowing that the Hagi family's swordsmanship was so powerful, Shinjia no longer held it up. He exhaled and the air around him suddenly became hot. Be careful, I'm going to be serious. Kakashi nodded, and also showed intent to kill. He knew that Kioske in this state was not afraid of physical attacks at all, so he could shoot at will. Advertisement, musket. A little bit of sparks spewed out from the fingertips, shooting all the way to the past, leaving small pits. Water escape water turbulence. Through the mask, spit out a stream of water to drown out the incoming sparks, and at the same time attacked Kioske on the side with water escape. Fire punch. The arm turned into a flame, and he slammed it out with a huge impact, colliding with the turbulence of the water. Laugh. The water mist filled, and then the mist. Kakashi cut his finger and immediately formed a seal, earth escape teeth chasing technique. Bark 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 bark. 8 dog barks, 8 ninja dogs of different sizes drilled out from the ground and bit towards Shinzuki. Yan Jia Yan Zu. The shining flames condensed on both hands, the body rotated, and a spiral fire column rose into the sky, knocking the ninja dog that was biting towards him into the sky. Looking at the burning flame column, Kakashi sighed and let the ninja dogs go back. Mirror flames. A sea of flames emptied water vapor, this time directly blocking Kakashi's road. Tuden Tulubi. An earth wall rises from the ground, and Kakashi hides behind, feeling the heat from the flames. Soil escaped the art of beheading in the heart. A hand suddenly rushed out of the ground and grabbed Shinsuke's ankle, trying to drag him into the ground, but unfortunately the snake that got out of his trousers bit his wrist and disappeared. Kakashi, the shady man, after using the earth flow wall, immediately used the obscured vision to let the shadow clone use the earth escape to approach him, wanting to drag himself into the ground, but unfortunately, he had already guarded against Kakashi. Dokage is out. A frontal force attack is not acceptable. In that state, his physical attack is invalid. Can he only escape with water? Kakashi thought for a while, his hands kept moving, shui dun shui fang bo. A large amount of water escaped chakra gushed out, turned into 2 spiral spikes, and rushed towards Shinzuki. Kiyomizu jumped away, and shui dun had a repressive effect on him. If he was hit, it would have hit his body firmly, and he didn't want to get hurt. The water bullet destroyed the floor tiles under his feet, turned a corner, and continued to rush towards Kioske. Chapter 46. Victory. It's really troublesome, wind escape wind cut technique. The wind blade cut off one water bullet, and another one flew. Kioske did not intend to resist, Yan Shangang. A wall of fire rose, blocking the waterfang bullet, and at this moment, Kakashi shot out with a knife. Kiyomizu immediately took out kunai, and the two joined each other. The battle between the two of them made many people dumbfounded. I didn't expect the two Konoha's little ghosts to have such strength. Is this really a shinobi? Is this Konoha's ninja? Yikang is a bit complicated. I didn't expect Kyosuke's strength to be so strong. If he used this strength when he met himself, he would not be an opponent, but how could he have so many Muji ninjutsu? She found that as long as it was Huo done, there was no seal in Kyosuke's hands. Isn't he also a ninja? For a while, she was a little confused. Sarutobi Hizumi looked at the two fighting below with satisfaction. The two of them can be said to be Konoha's future. Among them, Kioske is still a disciple of Oshimaru, which is equivalent to Hokage's direct line. If they are trained in the future, even if they cannot become Hokage, at least it is also a shadow-level strength. And Kakashi, this son's talent is not weaker than his father. Growing up normally, it is not impossible to become the next Konoha White Fang. Below, Kioske and Kakashi fought back and forth with Kakashi. Although the knife is not as good as Kakashi, he is not bad in body skills. At the same time, there are snakes coming out of him to attack Kakashi. Make it tired of precautions. Hurry up. The two retreated separately, and Kioske threw away the gap in his hand, and said, Kakashi is worthy of you, you are strong enough, but I will not lose to you. As he said, flames burned on his right foot, bring it on. Kakashi gasped for a while, chakra consumed more than expected, but it was enough to win the clearing. Kioske leapt high and kicked Kakashi violently, eat me, Liofei kicked. The flames on his legs became more and more violent, like a fireball falling from the sky. The speed was extremely fast, and it was inevitable. Kakashi squinted his eyes and slapped his palms, earth escaped the art of earth flow wall. An earthen wall rose and was kicked to pieces by Shinzuki. In the smoke and dust, a sharp blade was placed on Shinsuke's neck, don't move, you lose. No, you lost. Kiyomizu smiled and said, his body turned into flames, and he slapped Kakashi's chest with a palm. Kakashi flew out and hit the wall. Before he could catch his breath, he turned around and avoided the attack. With a bang, Kioske kicked his foot against the wall beside him, and a large depression appeared. Kakashi seized the opportunity and punched Kyosuke's chest, knocking him back again and again. Advertisement holding his chest, there was no elementalization, and he took the blow firmly. This guy can't deal with it several times compared to the last time Yan Yin. The main reason is that Kioske did not dare to use the otter bomb. He was afraid of killing Kakashi, otherwise, the battle would have ended long ago. Come again. If Kakashi is not given a chance to think about tactics, he will not give it. This guy's brain is very good. After a long time, he might lose out, so he doesn't want it. Storm. Only this way suits you. Water escape water turbulence. Yan Yin. The battle between Kioske and Kakashi continues, and there is still no difference between the winner and the loser. Damn it, is this guy Kakashi so good without lack of blue? He didn't expect Kakashi to be able to fight so well without lack of blue. Swordsmanship, ninjutsu, and physique are all impeccable. If he grows up like this, it will become the next Konoha Wide Tooth. It is worthy of being a person who can become the 6th generation of Hokage in the future. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi, however, I will not lose. Just need to increase firepower. Oh, fire fist. With a low shout, a fist was slammed, a huge flame fist was slammed, and it went straight to Kakashi. Soil escaped multiple earth flow walls, a series of earth walls rose up, and he stopped the fire fist. The technique of multiple shadow clones. A group of Shinzuki burst out, and one of them burned with flames. Kakashi was shocked when he saw this scene. He had seen this trick. The destructive power was very terrible. Could this guy use this trick to deal with himself? This is true for multiple shadow avatars. Kakashi wants to use the water escape but is too late, so she can only force it? When weighing the pros and cons in his mind, the shadow clone exploded and turned into a ball of flame, blocking the line of sight. Kioske rushed out of it, stretched out his hands, but was caught by Kakashi who reacted. Catch you, Kakashi said. No, I caught you. Holding Kakashi tightly with both hands, several snakes crawled out of the cuffs and bit Kakashi's wrist in one bite. Advertisement. Well. Kakashi trembled all over, and the toxins began to flow down the blood to his whole body, which affected him more or less. It was impossible to let go. The snakes bound him and ended the battle. Winner. Asakawa Kioske. Kakashi lost the ability to act, and the winner is naturally Shinjia. Yoshi. What a good job, Shinjia. Ha ha ha. The first person who called out was to bring dirt, as if he had won. Watergate and Lin looked at him helplessly. However, Kakashi's skin began to turn blue because of the snake venom. The referee said to Shinzuki. Since you have won, let him get rid of the snake venom. Kioske said embarrassedly, I haven't learned that. Referee. Kakashi. Sarutobi squeezed his eyebrows and said, Oshimaru, you can go there, and teach him how to detoxify by the way, otherwise it's easy to get into trouble in the future. Before he learns to detoxify, let him not use poisonous snakes in the village. Don't get into trouble sooner or later. Dashiwan nodded, came to Kakashi, and said to Shinzuki, I'm optimistic about how to detoxify. Yes. Kioske carefully watched the big snake pill detoxify Kakashi, and determined which snake was biting the person. Then, he found another snake and bit Kakashi again. Soon, this guy recovered. Ah, this. Can't learn, can't learn. Among these snakes, some snake venoms have the ability to dissolve other venomous toxins. They're natural enemies with each other. After returning, write down all the natural enemies of the snakes. Do you understand? Dashimaru said. Yes. Shinzuki nodded, looking like he would get a book of poisonous snakes when he returned. Kakashi stood up dizzy, was carried back to the audience by Kioske, and said, You are very strong, Kioske. It's okay, I didn't expect you to be so good, not as good as you. Haha, of course. I'm just being humble, forget it. Shinzuki looked towards Cheyenne village. Yi Kang felt his sight, snorted, and turned his head around. Make appointments, dates, and so on. 10 years later, she will definitely make this guy look at him with admiration. Moreover, I don't know if he will survive. Chapter 47, Focus on. The next battle has nothing to do with Kioske, he has already obtained the qualification to become Jongnin. It's just that Hong and Asma were unlucky and both lost to their opponents and could only be promoted in the next Jongnin exam. For the position of 15 people, Konoha became the only one who became Zongren. The rest of the positions were allocated to other villages. This was for diplomacy. Konoha got a very high evaluation, just to make friends with other villages. The list was manipulated. But this has nothing to do with Kioske, in Dashimaru's laboratory. Kioske said, Teacher Ashiwan, I thought of a way to improve physical strength and speed. Oh, let's listen. Dashiwan put down the test tube in his hand and looked at Shinzuki with interest. I feel that burning flames in the body produces heat that circulates into power in the body, so that this power can be used by me and enhance my physical strength. Kioske said, although it is only an experiment, I think it can be achieved. The idea was to suddenly remember the ability of a character in a comic he had seen before, and he wanted to try it. Dashimaru pondered for a while and said, in this state, you should be materialized. In other words, even if you succeed, you will lose your flamed body. After all, you have to circulate flames in your body, and only part of it can change. It becomes a flame, while the rest of the body is still flesh and blood. In this state, it is easy to be attacked, and if it fails, it is very likely to burn your body. As expected to be Oshimaru, Shinsuke's ability and introduction can deduce the weaknesses in his thoughts. Indeed, but this trick can increase my physical strength more than one thing. As long as I switch quickly, I can still make my body flame, Kioske said. But what should you do? In this regard, Dashimaru has no way to guide him, after all, he has no relevant experience. I don't know. Try it first before talking. If you recycle, just circulate in the meridian system when refining the chakra. Shinzuki patted his chest and said, I have confidence in this trick. I always feel not very reliable. Sit down cross-legged, close your eyes, and perceive the chakra with your heart, transform it into flames, and lower the temperature. After all, if the temperature is too high, the meridian system will be burned out, so you can't mess around. Oshimaru thought on one side, and said, concentrate the heat generated by the flame in a certain position and then burst out. Advertisement. After Chinjia heard it, he began to try. As the temperature of the flame slowly increased, the surface of his body's skin began to turn red, and a strange energy slowly appeared, but when he was about to circulate, it suddenly disappeared. Opened his eyes and said, failed, the heat is not stored. After talking about his feelings with Dashiwan said, let me think about it, you try again, this time converge the heat to the position of the heart, and then let the heat follow the blood of the arteries to the whole body. It always feels a bit dangerous, let the shadow clone come. He thought for a while, and felt that he should let the shadow clone go to thunder first. A shadow clone was separated and asked him to do what Oshimaru said. It didn't take long for the shadow clone's skin to become red, and then it exploded. The memory returned to the brain, Shinzuki said. The shadow clone was too anxious, and a large amount of heat was concentrated in the heart. Before it could be carried, the heart could not be loaded, and it finally exploded. Slower this time. The shadow avatar sat down and continued to try, but it ended in failure again. This time the problem was because the temperature was too high and the blood vessels were burned out. The third time. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi, considered a success. This time the condensing speed and temperature are within a reasonable range, but the power gained is not in Kiosuke's expectation, it is only a little stronger, and because of physical reasons, this state cannot be long, and because the heat energy increases the skin's strength. Sensitivity. Pain sensation has increased several times. When attacking the enemy will be injured 1000, and the enemy will be hurt by 800. This technique is meaningless. Oshimaru said, it can't exert the expected power, and it will also cause a burden on the operator. It is an abolished technique. Seisuke-san, this technique does not need to be tried again. Even if it is a forbidden technique, even if it will have a great impact on the operator, but in contrast, the power of the technique is very huge. Shinji's technique is completely meaningless. If you can't get power, it will cause damage. This technique is not as good as not being used. Understood, but I have another idea. His words made the corner of Dashiwan's eyes twitch, wondering what his apprentice had in mind. Just now, Mr. Ashimaru, your suggestion to concentrate the heat on one point, I think it can concentrate the flames and explode with more powerful force. Kioske said slowly with confidence. Advertisement. After thinking about it for a while, Dashimaru felt that this move was much more feasible than the one just now, nodded and said, you can try it. Okay. Kioske was full of enthusiasm, and flames burned on his fists, and a large number of chakras gathered on it, and the flames burned more violently. Fire punch. A punch hit the wall of the laboratory, boom. A stout flame spurted out from the front of the boxer, dazzlingly dazzling. It pierced several walls in a row, and the outside scenery could be seen. In addition, there were several trees in the forest outside that were broken and burned with flames. Dashiwan's eyes twitched, feeling a little pain in the stomach, but still commented, the destructive power is still good, how is the consumption? It's similar to the chakra blasted by the clone. Kioske said excitedly, that is to say, when dealing with the enemy, this trick is exactly the same. It's not bad, the destructive power is considerable. Oshimaru said, go, after putting out the fire, go and repair my house. What's your expression, you broke my house, don't you want to repair it? This is not the Konoha training ground. You can use ninjutsu at will. If you don't fix it, stay here to help me at night, experiment. It will be fixed. Shinzuki promised that he would not accompany Dashiwan in experiments, it was really disgusting. Although he can learn a lot, he will have no appetite the next day because of the experiment. He can eat but not much. Then go quickly. Dashiwan shook his head, firming up his idea of accepting another apprentice. This apprentice is a bit pitted, the talent is indeed good, but he is not suitable for inheriting his mantle, and he has been guarding himself. Can it be seen that Kiosuke's jealousy of him is because of previous experiments? After all, after experimenting with him as an experiment for a period of time, he may have left bad memories. In addition, children who have lost their parents are more sensitive to the outside world. Forget it, continue the experiment. Chapter 48. Sudden War. Konoha 44 years. It should have been a peaceful year, but a major event broke out in Cheyenne village. 3 generations of Feng disappeared. It would be fine if it was used by other Shangren for 10.5 months, but it was the 3rd generation Feng who was missing, and the shadow body, the highest leader of the village, would not disappear for no reason. Ying has to deal with a lot of affairs every day, and it is impossible to just throw things to the elders. The Cheyenne village, which lost the 3rd generation of Feng, suppressed the news and began to send people to look for the traces of her boss. Because the action was too big, it attracted the attention of other countries, and it was only discovered after an investigation. Whoops, his boss is missing. Lost the shelter of the wind shadow, the strength of Cheyenne village was greatly reduced. It was just when it was weak that the Thunder Country, which admired military expansion, took advantage of the fire, attacked the Wind Country, and declared war on the Earth Country and the Fire Country. The 3rd Ninja World War has begun. Konoha enters wartime alert state. Fire Country has accumulated a group of ninjas in the scene of Unokuni and Tianjiguo, specially to guard against Yan Yin village, and Jilai, one of the 3 ninjas, also hangs and sits on the border. At this time period, no one thought that the Kingdom of Wind, which had been bullied by the Kingdom of Thunder, would suddenly invade Konoha on a large scale. The Fire Country was caught off guard. After Konoha's high-level decision, Osamaru, one of the 3 ninjas, was dispatched to the battlefield of the Fire Country and the Wind Country to command the battle. The true Red Team was also dispatched into this battle. A ninja is a soldier, and the village trains you to exert your strength and defend the country during this special period. Originally, Asma and Hong, who were not promoted to Zhongnin, were Zongren. Not only them, but also a group of Zongren who had not passed the Zhongnin exams also became Zongren. One was to increase morale and the other was to deter each other. There is another reason. Sending ninjas to the battlefield is simply sending them to death. It is enough to upgrade them to ninjas. It's a bit self-deceiving, but it's not just Konoha who does this, but the other ninja villages are the same. Prepared for the necessary consumables such as kunai, shuriken, detonation talisman, and binglang pill, Kioske, Yuhi Mahong and others set foot on the battlefield with the Kingdom of Wind. They participated in the war for the first time. He was really a little excitement, so he lost sleep on the first night. The war was originally a little far away for him, but now it suddenly came, making him a little caught off guard. This war is actually an extension of the Second Ninja World War. After recuperating and rejuvenating, all the 5 great nations came to recuperate and rejuvenate. Fire Nation made a lot of money in the Second Ninja World War, and the tree attracted the wind. Without Konoha's white teeth, the Slug Princess Tsunade's combat effectiveness has dropped drastically. It is the time of weakness that not only thunder, earth, and wind are hostile to Konoha, but they also stare at Konoha while playing in their own misty hidden village. The 4 big nations all want to bite a piece of meat on the body of the country of fire. Thinking of this, he sighed, turned over and continued to sleep, beating Konoha's Konoha on guard, and they didn't need the little guys who had just been promoted to Zongren to watch night. Advertisement. It took 3 days to finally approach the battlefield. These Konoha ninjas are going to report to Commander Ashimaru tomorrow. In the camp at night, it was silent, and it was a little weird. A perceptual ninja on Konoha's side suddenly opened his eyes and said, an unknown chakra approached, and they all cheered up. Yuri Zhenheng awakened the 3 of them and immediately entered a state of combat readiness. Over there. The perception ninja pointed to the top and said. He just finished speaking. In the dark forest, a lot of kunai flew out, hitting several inexperienced Konoha ninjas. They screamed and fell to the ground, their faces hard to look like, and they struggled back and forth on the ground. Shinji pointed his eyes and said, kindness is poisonous, so be careful. Jet flames. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. With a punch, he burned to the position where he had just flown out of Kuwu, and several figures flew out of it. Click, click, click. The clash of wood came, and it was especially clear in the darkness. Someone said, Ninja of Konoha, don't want to leave here alive today. It's the puppet troops of Cheyenne village. When a Shangren repelled the attacker, he found the attacker's true face, who was a puppet. The puppet art of Cheyenne village is unique in the world. This is also their strength. A puppet can be equipped with a large number of mechanisms, many of which carry poison. A puppet master can not only control a puppet, but a more powerful puppet master. It can control several puppets, and the power that each puppet can exert is very powerful, and it is very difficult to cooperate. On the river, how many puppet masters? Yuri Zhenheng asked. The perceptual ninja Kakami said, there are 3 in total, and it should be a small team. The 3 puppet masters. They have 3 ninja teams here, a total of 12 people. There are 3 upper ninjas, one of them is a perception ninja, which is a little troublesome for the 3 puppet masters. Advertisement at this time, Yuri Zhenheng said, Kioske, I beg you. Understood. Shinzuki walked out. At this time, a Shangren said, True Red, let a little devil who has just been promoted to Shinobu for a year. It's too reckless, don't let him go to death. No one can kill him, Yuri Zhenheng said solemnly. As long as the mystery of Kioske is not discovered, no one can kill him before he runs out of chakra. Kiyomizu said, Mr. Kawakami, please give me instructions. Understood. Hesheng nodded and said, there is a puppet master on the tree at 1 o'clock, and one at 3 o'clock and one at 10 o'clock. Got it. Keep alive. Yuri Zhenheng said, it is good. Shinji stabs out, and there is an extra glow in the dark forest, which is particularly eye-catching. Little devil, since you are here to die, then hand over this low life. A puppet master sneered, fingers linked. The chakra line of the fingertips controlled the puppet to kill. The sword on his arm penetrated Kiosuke's chest. Damn it. Shangren, who had just stopped Yuri Zhenheng, saw Shinzuki being hit and prepared to rescue him, but was stopped by Yuri Zhenheng and said, keep watching. Everyone is fast. Huh? He suddenly saw a flame rising from Kiosuke's wound, and then the flame ignited the wooden puppet. What? Not only him, but the puppet master in the dark was also taken aback, and saw flames burning on Shinji's wound and healed the wound. Shenhuo Shiranui. The flames on both hands burned, and Kiyomizu aimed at the sand-hidden puppet master in the night, throwing his hands violently, and the 2 flames turned into flame spears and hid the target. While penetrating the opponent's body, the flame burned the enemy's internal organs, giving the opponent no possibility of surviving at all. Kill a puppet master easily. Okay, next one. After speaking, he rushed to another puppet master. Chapter 49. Night attack. Boy, die. The puppet master shouted angrily. The puppet flew over, and the organs on his body opened, and countless fine poisoned steel needles shot out like torrential pear blossoms, leaving a lot of holes in Shinsuke's body. It just has no effect on the elementalized body of him. With his arms swung, a huge flame fist was swept away, and the puppet master and the puppet were swallowed. The remaining puppet master wanted to run when he saw this. Yuri Zhenheng and the other Shangren couldn't bear it for a long time. One dealt with the puppet, and the instantaneous spell came behind him. Yuri is really red, holding down his shoulder. Yo, brother, have fun. Puppet master. Circle.operator X circle.operator winking face. Oh, it's over. I still want to fight back. My head is blinded, and I have been controlled by illusion. Next, it's time to interrogate the information. The opening in Shinji's body was filled with flames, and he picked up the wreckage of the puppet on the ground, trying to see what the mystery of this thing was. Shang came over and asked, interested in these things? Well, kind of, I'm just curious about how this thing works, Shinzuki said. Sarah's puppetry is a secret. Not only the generation of chakra silk threads, but also the production of puppets are secrets. Konoha once obtained information about these things from these people, and found that more than just talent is needed, and it needs to be practiced day by day. The only people in the village can learn from the Uchiha clan. They can directly copy the puppet master's operation techniques, but they don't like the puppet technique, so the village gave up. The riding wheel eyes of the Uchiha clan can easily replicate the actions of the opponent, and the control method of puppetry is also possible, but this group of people is proud and feels that puppetry is useless, and it is not as powerful as the family's fire escape. Studying, the village has no time to spend time cultivating puppet masters, and other villages are the same. After a long time, they gave up. The puppet master has always been a characteristic of Cheyenne village. Can't care about the first half. So that's it, the puppet master is very troublesome. Under the control of the puppet master, the puppet can ignore the terrain, move fast without knowing the pain, and the organs in the body are indefensible, and it is accompanied by toxins. If you don't pay attention, you will be poisoned and die. It is very difficult to deal with. Advertisement, it has to be sent to the camp. Please medical ninja for treatment. At this time, there was a voice over there, the poisoned ninjas, the toxins in their bodies, they had no way to figure out the toxins in their bodies, they had to wait for the medical ninjas to do their work. Several Shangren carried the wounded, and the leader of Shangren sealed the body of the puppet assassination team. After getting information about Cheyenne village, Yuhi Mahong's face sank, and he said, we must rush to Konoha's base camp as fast as possible. Cheyenne has assembled a group of ninjas to make a sneak attack. The leader is Cheyenne village. the elder Hai Lao Zhang. Ai Lao Zhang, the younger brother of the puppet master Chiyo, is also a powerful puppet master. His strength may not be as good as his sister Chiyo, but his strength should not be underestimated. People who are not at the level of Oshimaru can't deal with it. All cheer up and prepare to go to the camp. Everyone stood up one after another. They must now rush to the camp as soon as possible to bring this information to Dashawan to avoid being attacked. Yu Hitaka turned his head to look at Kiyomizu and said, Kyosuke, you pass the information to Lord Oshimaru. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi, okay. Psychic art. A snake appeared in front of him. Yuri Zhenheng took out the written information scroll. Kioske let the snake swallow it and disappeared suddenly. Konoha base camp Dashimaru, who was thinking about the next plan of Cheyenne village, found a snake suddenly added to his feet, stretched out his hand, the snake spit out the intelligence scroll, and opened it to see that it was news that Cheyenne village was about to attack, and sneered, Ai Lao Zhang, can you really count on me? Stand up and start the arrangement. It was late at night, and the camp was quiet. Silhouettes entered the camp silently. The surrounding warning barriers didn't work. Those silhouettes got into the tent, and a handful of blood splashed on the camp tent. The assassination was unexpectedly simple. An old figure suddenly appeared in the camp, wearing a black robe, carrying a bag crossbody, bandages on his head wrapped in a hat, long white eyebrows covering his eyes, and an old face. Shang had no joy or sorrow, and whispered softly, No, it's so smooth, retreat. The fingers tucked in the sleeves moved, and the figures flew out of the tent and gathered around him. Advertisement at this moment, a big snake emerged from the ground and rushed toward him. A puppet rushed over and cut off the big snake, which was like a signal. Behind the old man, a group of puppet masters from Cheyenne village jumped out, and the puppets gathered around him. Master Ai Lao Zhang, we seem to be hit. A puppet master said solemnly. Indeed, it looks like the information has leaked. Retreat. Visit late at night and don't entertain it. It's not Konoha's way of hospitality. Since you are here, just stay. A husky, magnetic voice sounded, the lamp of Konoha Shuai's account came on, and the Oshimaru left. Come out, a pair of golden snake eyes are full of indifference. Ai Lao Zhang's eyebrows trembled, and he didn't rush and said, Who am I? It turns out to be the disciple of Sarutobi Heiichi, Oshimaru. It seems that you have got our information here. You are really willing to assassinate. We are worth it for a group of ninjas. Oshimaru heard the words and smiled and said, That's your ninja from Sagakura village. We just changed them into Konoha ninja clothes. Those who were killed were all prisoners from Cheyenne village. After the torture of the information, they were of no use. Originally, they were going to be sent back to Konoha for research purposes by the people in the village. Now they can still play a role. Ai Lao Zhang still had no expression on his old face and said, If this is the case, it is a failure, retreat. Don't even think about leaving when you come. Dashimaru is already preparing to leave the group of guys here tonight, and his hands are sealed, psychic art. A big snake with a length of several tens of meters appeared at Ai Zhang and took a bite. Regardless of the unreasonableness of Hai Lao Zhang Lao, his body was unexpectedly flexible, jumping into the air with the puppet masters, and controlling the puppet to attack the Oshimaru. Huo Dun fired Dragon Flame Bomb, breathing flames, while pushing away the flying poison needle Kuu Shuriken. He also attacked Ai Lao Zhang and the others. Although the puppet is tough, it is made of wood after all, and wood is not very fireproof. Even if the old man has a countermeasure, there are not many people he takes with his rich experience. When the puppets were on fire, they panicked. They fell down and wanted to put out the flames. At this time, a wind blew over the Dashawan, increasing the intensity of the fire. Wind Escape Big Breakthrough, Chapter 50, Sarutobi Shinosuke. A few puppets flew out and absorbed the flames into their special mouthparts. The trouble was solved. Ai Lao Zhang looked at the big snake pill on the top of the snake's head and said, This time the assassination failed, so there is no more entanglement. Smoke screen. Smoke came out of the puppet's mouth, blocking the line of sight, and the leader of Ai Lao Zhang took advantage of the opportunity to disappear. Did you run away? The old man is so good. This Ai Lao Zhang is really hard to deal with. Oshimaru shook his head and let the guarding ninjas disperse. There was nothing tonight. Compared with his sister Chiyo, who is an activist, Ai Lao Zhang is more difficult to deal with. He is the type that makes the other party into chaos through thoughtful strategies. He has extraordinary talents and is a difficult ninja to deal with. The past 2 games Ninja World War has proved this point. There are not many ninjas who have gone through 2 ninja battles and are safe and sound, and there are not many ninja villages in the entire 5 great ninja villages. If this time the assassination hadn't been for Shiri Zhenhong's opening, I'm afraid he would have suffered a loss. Ask people to dispose of the ninja corpses in Cheyenne village, send them back to the village, arrange the staff on duty, and then let people go to meet them, and then go down to rest. In the early morning, Yuri Zhenhong took Shinzuki and the others to feel the camp. After learning that the attack on Cheyenne village had failed, he breathed a sigh of relief. After allowing Shinzuki and them to rest well, they went to report to Oshimaru. I slept until noon, feeling very restless, and was told to go to the handsome account with Hong and Asma, and immediately took the 2 of them to go. Oshimaru was sitting inside, making plans with Konoha's Kaminen. Seeing Shinsuke's arrival, Dashimaru nodded and said, Kyosuke-san, there is a task for your team. Won't teacher Zhenhong come? He has other tasks. This is Sarutobi Shinosuke, your temporary team leader. Shinosuke, please lead the team. There was someone who was somewhat similar to Asma, with thick hair. The scumbag man nodded and said, Leave it to me. Big brother, Asma shouted. This scumbag man is Asma's eldest brother, Sarutobi Shinosuke, the eldest son of the 3rd generation of Naruto Sarutobi. Shinosuke sighed. The little brother is still a bit immature, and said, "Come with me, I will explain the specifics of the task to you." Advertisement taking the three of them out of the tent, he said as he walked, because the attack on Cheyenne village was too sudden, causing the Fire Country to lose a lot of strategic locations. Our first task now is to drive Cheyenne ninja out of Fire Country. Because of the sudden attack on the village of Cheyenne, Konoha was almost completely defeated at the beginning of the war. He was invaded into the country and lost a lot of territory. The first task of Oshimaru was to counterattack and regain the lost ground. The rest will be discussed later. Take out a map of the country of fire, with a lot of red dots on it, Shinji said. The red dots are our lost territory. Today, our team's task is to take you and take this town. Just the four of us? Shinzuki asked unexpectedly. Of course. Sarutobi Shinosuke said. We have checked the number of ninjas in the sandy hidden village in this town. There are 2 ninja teams, 3 of which are puppet masters, 1 medical ninja, and the remaining 4 are ordinary sandy ninjas. I'm in charge of feint attacks, but you are assassinations. You can kill as many as you can, but for medical ninjas, it's best if they can be captured alive. The poison in Cheyenne village is very harmful to Konoha. If you catch a medical ninja, it might help a little. Yes. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Asma, Hong, you are under the command of Chingjia, and cooperate with him to capture the medical ninja alive. Yes. Shinosuke released the task and led the 3 to a small town not far away. On the way, Asma asked, Brother, are you alone against a small group of ninjas? His elder brother's task is to attract firepower, at least the combat power of a small team. Although he has confidence in the strength of his elder brother, he is a ninja of a small team after all. Yes, why? Don't you have confidence in me? That's not it? Then there is no need to worry about anything. Shinosuke said solemnly, my father has already sent us to the battlefield, so we must act according to the plan. There is no problem with Lord Oshimaru's plan. As long as we don't make any mistakes, it is very soon you can sweep the sand-hidden ninja out of the land of fire. I know, Asma replied somewhat irritably. Shinosuke didn't say much, and asked them to pay attention to something on the way, and told them that Yuhi Mahong had assembled a temporary team with other Shangnin and Zhongnin to attack an important town. Advertisement the town they have raided is much simpler than their mission. At this time, Shinzuki asked, well, are you planning to drive Cheyenne village out of the land of fire and start a war in the land of river? Oh, did you see it? Shinosuke looked at Kioske with some surprise, but he didn't think he could see this step, so he said, indeed, the task now is to regain lost ground and transfer the battlefield of large-scale friction to the Kingdom of Wind. There is also the country of the river and the country of fire, which has already drawn the battlefield to that side. Anyway, it's not the land of my own home, and I don't feel distressed no matter how ruined it is. It was like this in the country of rain, which was sandwiched between the 3 countries of fire, wind, and soil. I understand. Kikyo knew that the final battle between Konoha and Sunin was at Kikyo Mountain, and Kikyo Mountain was in the country of the river. It's just that the Battle of Kikyo Mountain might have severely damaged Konoha. After all, Konoha had only a small team of Watergate to support him in the Battle of the Shinsubi Bridge and the battlefield at Yan Yin village. 3 generations of Fengying have disappeared. Now, Chiyo and her brother Ilaozu are in charge of Cheyenne village. Chiyo hates Konoha very much. After all, there is a grudge against Konoha, and it is possible to fight with Konoha and lose both. Coupled with the fact that the Wuyan battlefield is full of crooked melons and cracked dates, it is not difficult to see that Konoha's main combat power is placed on the side of Sharon and Yan Yin. It's dangerous here. She shed a drop of cold sweat, now thinking about the battlefield with San Shinobu. It is the most dangerous, and we must survive. Under the leadership of Shinosuke, they came to the small town occupied by Shinobu. Shinosuke said, did you see the clock tower? According to the information, there's the gathering place of Sarunin and the medical ninja is also in it. I am responsible for leading them away. You should catch the medical ninja. If you can't catch it, then kill. I am responsible for containing them. They looked over, and on the clock tower, 2 sand ninjas were observing the situation in the town. To understanding. They nodded, and Shinosuke said, okay, please, I will take care of that group of ninjas as quickly as possible. After that, he rushed out without hiding his meaning at all. It's normal to attract firepower. Seeing this, Shinzuki said, well, we should do it too. The 3 of them immediately mixed into the town.